from Skydome, it's the Toronto Blue Jays hosting the New York Yankees. For 9 years, Jimmy Key was a Blue Jay standout, and last October, a World Series hero. Tonight, he tries to derail the Jays' pennant express and mount a miracle for the Yankees. Two weeks ago in the American League East, Cito Gaston's struggling Blue Jays and Buck Showalter's Yankees, a flat-footed tie, identical records. Then the Blue Jays caught fire. They swept 3 games from the Angels, led by Joe Carter, who had 2 home runs. They moved on to Detroit. There they would score 23 runs in 2 games. The winning streak was at 5. In New York, the frustration was mounting. The Yankees began to stumble. Meanwhile, Toronto moved on to Minnesota. Ricky Henderson stole 6 bases. The winning streak was at 8. In New York, the defense faltered. Steinbrenner complained, and the slide continued. The Blue Jays winning streak at 9. 2 of 3 from the Red Sox. 10 days left. The Jays are 5.5 games up in the East. ESPN's Friday Night Baseball from Toronto. The Yankees have been in first place, tied 18 times. They've never had it to themselves. Their last gasp in this series against the Toronto Blue Jays. Hello, everybody. Gary Thorne, Buck Martinez, and welcome. For the Yankees, Buck, this is it. Do or die. If they're going to make a shot, they got to do it now. A great matchup, though, to start the series.
It sure is. Jimmy Key against Juan Guzman, and it's actually contrasting styles. Jimmy Key's a finesse pitcher. His first year in New York, he's had an outstanding season. If he wins tonight, he'll have a career-high 18 wins. This year, he's 2-0 against the Blue Jays, and he's the type of pitcher that always gives them fits. Juan Guzman, on the other hand, is really riding a hot streak. He's won 6 straight, and in his last 8 starts, he's pitched them into the 7th inning.
We keep hearing a lot about Ricky Henderson. The question is, with his batting average down, is he really making a positive contribution to the Jays?
He sure is, Gary. He is stealing bases. He's scoring runs. Wednesday night against the Red Sox, he hit his 3rd home run as a Blue Jay, first at Skydome. And all of a sudden, the Blue Jay players are starting to see a more relaxed Ricky Henderson, the guy they've been waiting on for a while.
Well, for the Toronto Blue Jays, this is their final stand at home this weekend. If they win all 3 and get some help, they have a chance to have their 3rd consecutive division title by Sunday. ESPN's Friday Night Baseball is brought to you by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft. Get out of the old, get into the cold. By Napa, because there are no unimportant parts. And by Embassy Suites Hotels. For reservations at twice the hotel, call 1-800-EMBASSY. American League to lead in batting average and home runs since Boston did it in 1979. Buck Showalter's New York Yankees tonight in this big series against Toronto. We'll look this way. Wade Boggs leads it off at 3rd base. Deion James will get a start. He's done pretty well against the opposition. Don Mattingly will be at first base batting 3rd. Danny Tartable, the cleanup batter in right field, struggling. O'Neill, the DH, got a bad arm, can't throw. Mike Stanley doing the catching behind the plate. He'll be followed by Bernie Williams, switch hitter in center field. Steady Mike Gallego batting 8th at 2nd base. Randy Velarde will be the shortstop, and he'll bat 9th.
Juan Guzman starts tonight against the Yankees 13-3. Guzman's had 15 no decisions, and he's very, very basic. He's got a good fastball that explodes. He's got a couple of different sliders and a tremendous straight changeup. First time this year that he's been less hits than innings pitched. He's just now starting to throw the ball effectively.
6-0 in his last 8 starts and red hot. Wade Boggs leads it off for the New York Yankees, and we are underway as Rich Garcia calls the strike. The numbers for Wade Boggs, who has gone 3 for 15 in his career appearances against Juan Guzman. They play Boggs straight away, shallow in the outfield, down to 3rd. That's a tough play. Ed Sprague gets Boggs.
Well, the Blue Jays get a nice play from Sprague initially. There's Robbie Alomar, the all-star second baseman. 5 errors in 92, 14 in 93. But I guess, hey, he's a slugger now. He's got 17 homers. Doesn't have to have that great glove. Rest of the defense, Henderson, White, and Carter in the outfield. Sprague, Fernandez, Alomar, Olerud are on the infield. And Pat Borders teams up with Juan Guzman to make the battery here tonight at Skydome.
Sprague at 3rd base with a good play to help out. Alomar will make a lot of them before the season's done at 2nd base. Gold Glove player. Guzman inside to Dion James, who is 3 for 6 against Guzman in the times he has faced him. So Dion James making the start in left field in tonight's game. Again, shallow in the outfield, drawn in a bit at the corners. Guzman misses down low with it. Wants a new baseball. 2 balls, no strikes.
Well, there are the numbers you're talking about, Gary. And Dion James had a good year with the bat for the Yankees. Everybody expected him to be a role player, a guy that would get the occasional start against a right-handed pitcher, but his bat has earned him more playing time.
7 hits in his last 22 at-bats. Takes the breaking ball inside, and it's 3 balls, no strikes. Toronto Blue Jays trying to put it away as they are 5.5 games up. They have a magic number of 5, and they have gained 5.5 games over the last 14. So they have put the heat on. The Yankees are going to try and do that to them in this series. First walk in the game, Guzman.
And Gary, that walk's pretty significant because Guzman is out of his delivery right now. What he has to do is make sure that he finishes up more toward home plate. Anytime you see Juan Guzman running off the mound toward the first base foul line, he's jumping at home plate too much. He's got to smooth it out and allow his arm to lead him through that delivery.
Keep an eye on him, Buck. See whether he gets that corrected. He's got James on at first base. The Yankees have been a running team this year. They've stolen a lot of bases, but they've been caught a lot, and they've tried to make things go. Don Mattingly, and James will be held at first with Olerud there. Yankees come off a homestand, which is not what they had wanted it to be. Mattingly went 5 for 23 during the homestand, 3 doubles, 2 RBIs. He's not had a hit in his last 10 at-bats. And Buck, from the last time I saw Don Mattingly, he has changed his stance dramatically again.
Yeah, he was always a tinkerer. Even before the back problems, he would tinker with that batting stance. What's different now, late in his career, is he doesn't take quite as much batting practice. He doesn't spend so much time in the batting cage, but you can see a little bit different stance there. And now he'll just ease back on that back leg as he gets set to face Guzman.
James, just a decent lead over there. Guzman gets the pitch in. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 away. Talking about the Yankees station-to-station game and how Buck Showalter tried to run them this season and how it just hasn't worked. Only 1 stolen base in September. They are .492 in trying to steal, less than .500 in attempting stolen bases, which is a real disaster when you do that as a team.
Well, that's the big difference between the Yankees and the Blue Jays. If the Yankees go up against a tough pitcher like Guzman and they're not able to get double-digit hits, they have a tough time scoring. The Blue Jays, on the other hand, can always manufacture runs because they all run so well. Cito Gaston has that extra weapon of speed.
1 ball, 1 strike on Mattingly. Way inside. He just gets away from that one. 2-1.
Gary, I think Juan Guzman's caught up in the emotion of the night here. Big series with the Yankees, and he's really pumped up. He has been on a hot streak, which we've mentioned. His last 8 starts, he's been outstanding. He's won 6 in a row. But right now, he's got to get his emotions under control here early in the ball game. He's trying a little bit too hard.
Yeah, you can see him overthrowing the baseball. 96 miles an hour, the last fastball, so he's coming with it. Mattingly. Boom, a breaking ball. Foul tip. Hung on to. Good pitch. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Rich Garcia is working the plate tonight. Dan Morrison at first, Al Clark at second, and Greg Kosk is at third base. Garcia is working an extra series game here. He was in for the last series against the Red Sox. There was a death in the family of one of the umpires on this crew that has moved in, so Garcia has stayed over and is working the plate. Dion James at first, John Olerud holding him. 2-2 count on Mattingly. Broken bat, base hit into right field. Joe Carter over. James the turn. Carter wants to try it. He'll hit the cutoff man, and the Yankees have it going. And they have some people on hand to cheer them as well here in Toronto. First and third, 1 out.
Well, Guzman fell behind Mattingly, and Don battled him tough and then got a pitch that was inside. Sounded like he broke his bat, but he fights it off and gets it into right field. There's that fastball. Might have been off the end of the bat. And you can see it's inside off the plate. Mattingly just hooks it down into the right field line. Something unusual on the play is that Dion James went first to third. You just don't see that much with the Yankees.
He didn't hesitate to take off around second base, so clearly they're doing what they've got to do early on in this game and for the series. That's be aggressive. It's all on the line for New York. Mattingly getting the signs. Frank Howard, first base coach, coming over to talk to him.
Probably a little reminder about Guzman in that he leads the league in wild pitches. So you've got to anticipate a ball in the dirt.
24 wild pitches this year. But Danny Tardo will love to get it cranked up. Tardo with the 96 RBIs and 30 home runs. He's up on the top of the pile for the Yankees in those departments, but of late, here when they have needed some big hits, he's not been able to deliver, and his response to it has been, I just come to the ballpark every day ready to go. It's all I can do. I'm not going to get down. Good hard slider down and away. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, Tardo's strength lies down and out over the plate. Guzman can overpower him downstairs, but he also has to show him some fastballs up in the strike zone. That has always been a weakness for Tardo. He has a tough time laying off that high strike.
Get him to chase a little bit. He struck out 146 times this year. That's the pitch Guzman wants him to go after. Tardo does not. 2 balls and 1 strike on him with 1 away. No question that he has the power. You see Guzman is pretty much dominated. He has hit 1 home run off him, but a lot more strikeouts for Guzman against Tardo. 2-1 pitch took something off that one. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Juan Guzman has an unusual knack for a young pitcher of righting himself. We talked about his delivery. Now look how he finishes up right toward the catcher. He got it back right where he wanted it. He's balanced. His hand is leading him through the delivery, and the ball's jumping out of it now, and he's finding the strike zone.
He is second in the American League in strikeouts with 182. Fans want him to get 183 right here. He did.
Well, we mentioned 96 miles an hour, and once again Guzman goes right to Tardo's strength, down and out over the plate. Tardo with 2 strikes. That ball is right on the corner, but he has to try to make connections and just missed. First strikeout of the night for Guzman.
A very important one right there. Now 2 down, runners on at first and third, and here's Paul O'Neill. Leon James with speed at third base, and Don Mattingly, the base runner, at first. But now there are 2 down, so it leaves it up to O'Neill. O'Neill batting .266 with runners in scoring position this year. Fouls it off.
You can see O'Neill's wearing a big wrap around his left arm. That's the arm he injured when he banged into the wall chasing down a Kirby Puckett drive at Yankee Stadium. He was very questionable whether or not he could swing the bat here today, and batting practice was really a painful ordeal for him.
Wouldn't you know it, Buck, as baseball does, here he is in a key situation in the first inning, and it is key. The Yankees need to get it going. Mattingly back to the bag. This is a situation now. They had first and third and 1 away. You don't score in that situation. You go back out onto that field if you're a Yankee going, oh, jeez.
Yeah, we're not going to cash in tonight, and it does the opposite for the Blue Jays. Guzman pitches them out of a jam in the first.
0-1 the count. O'Neill will try and get it done for the Yankees. Not with that. Chases one. You saw he did not have a good swing. 2 strikes.
Now, Buck Showalter knows that O'Neill's not 100%. Blue Jays, I'm sure, are aware of it as well. And in thinking that way, if I'm catching right now, I got to stay hard on Paul O'Neill. I don't want to give him anything off speed. Be aggressive, pound him with a good fastball, and make him really try to be quick with that banged-up elbow.
Guzman ahead on the count, 0-2. First and third occupied for the Yankees. 26-year-old right-hander trying to get out of the inning. And he'll step off.
I don't think he's real sure about the pitch selection. He wants another sign from Borders. You don't like to see a pitcher having doubts about what he's about to throw.
0-2. Just stayed alive. He wasn't quite sure what he wanted to do on that pitch, except get out of there.
Nah, I bet you he's hurting pretty good there. You can see he's awfully tentative, thinking about swinging that bat.
He's so tentative, Buck, I got to believe Buck Showalter's got to be wondering whether he stays in the game. They're going to jam him like that. He's not going to get much done.
Those numbers don't necessarily apply tonight.
Two down, the 0-2 again by Guzman. Just missed the outside corner. He had him fooled. After setting him up, busting him inside, he went away.
Well, Guzman appears to have found his control, borders with the outside target, and you can see that it was just a few inches off the plate outside.
O'Neill 2 for 6 with a home run against Guzman. 1-2 delivery. Not a chance. Second strikeout of the inning, and Guzman gets it done with 2 Yankees left on, and they had him there with 1 out. That has been maybe the only weakness the Jays really have. They've struggled with a record. You see what they've done against right-handers, better than anyone else in the majors. Cito Gaston's lineup tonight looks like this. Ricky Henderson leads it off. He'll be in left field. Devon White, switch hitter, playing center field. Designated hitter Paul Molitor, a tremendous career-type season for the 37-year-old. Joe Carter will bat cleanup in right field. John Olerud at first base. The left-handed hitter, the Gold Glove Roberto Alomar, second base. Switch hitter, hot at the plate, Tony Fernandez playing at shortstop. Yet another switch hitter, Ed Sprague at third base. The right-handed batter, Pat Borders, ninth and catching.
And the Blue Jays will take a look at Jimmy Key for the 3rd time this year. He's 2-0 against Toronto, 17-5 in his career, in his season. He won 17 games one other time back in '87 for Toronto. Once again, very good hits to innings pitch ratio. Unusual amount of strikeouts for Jimmy Key, but this has been an unusual year. He has been their ace. He has been their stopper. He's 10-2 after a Yankee loss, and he has left 6 games with the lead to go along with those 17 wins. Defensively, Mike Gallego has been a real star. Look what he's done. He's moved around all over the infield and played consistently very solid defense. Tonight, he's at second base along with the rest of the Yankee outfield. The outfield is James, Williams, and Tartabull. In the infield, it's Boggs and Velarde on the left side, Gallego and Mattingly on the right side, and Mike Stanley, a beat-up Mike Stanley, is behind the plate.
Ricky Henderson will lead it off against Jimmy Key with a 4-game hit streak for Ricky. And Key's got the breaking ball in for a strike. There you see the numbers for Henderson against New York. He's batting .452.
He likes Broadway.
He loves to know George is here, too. He'll take full advantage of it. We'll talk about that tonight. George Steinbrenner is on hand for the ball game tonight. He had a chance to talk with him prior to the game, and hopefully we'll have a chance to let you listen in on a couple of questions we had to George. Henderson goes to right, not deep. Tartabull, second baseman Gallego. Nobody's back. He's on his way to second base. A 9-mile high double in no man's land.
Right into no man's land. Ricky Henderson hustling around the base pass. It looked like a routine out, and it goes down into no man's land. Tartabull is in the outfield. Remember, Paul O'Neill, a regular right fielder, is banged up. All he can do is DH. Neither Mattingly nor Gallego nor Danny Tartabull can come up with that pop fly down the right field line.
So Henderson leads it off with a double, just his second since joining the team. He has 21 on the year. Devon White, 0 for his last 8, takes the breaking ball down low from Jimmy Key, who right away has to work with a speedster on at second base. There you see the numbers for Devon White, .243 against left-handers. Key with a long look at Henderson. 2 balls, no strikes.
Jimmy Key is the kind of guy that never really gives in to the hitter. Even though he falls behind, he won't come down the middle of the plate. He'll always be working at the corners because he has such outstanding control.
He works from way over on that first base side of the rubber, doesn't he? Devon White foul tips it. That one.
That hit Mike Stanley exactly where he's been hit before. And that's what he was concerned about starting this game. He blocked the ball in the dirt 2 days ago, and it caught him right on the right forearm, and it hit the bone. He thought the arm was broken, and the first foul tip of the night catches him right on the same spot. Watch his right hand. Hit the fingers of his right hand. You know, as a catcher, you'd like to see catchers close that fist a little bit. His hands were a bit too exposed right there. He's fortunate that they hit the back of his fingers and didn't hit between them and caused him to split those fingers.
Generally, Buck, and you being the catcher, you keep that hand fisted and you keep it behind the glove usually until you've got the ball in the glove.
Yeah, when it gets into the hitting area, you've got to sneak it out and put it in harm's way somewhat. But as long as you keep your fist relaxed and bend those fingers closed, you're not subjecting the fingers to any injury.
Rickey Henderson has stolen 16 consecutive. And there you see what he's done going to third. So he is always a danger no matter what base he's on. That's why the Yankees are closing in on him at second. Devon White foul tips it again, and he got Stanley again. 2-2. Well, Devon White may not get a hit, but he might get Mike Stanley out of the game.
Well, you see what happened right there. Stanley threw it over the pitcher's mound. He was just trying to throw it back to Jimmy Key, and he didn't have any feeling in his hand.
Rickey noticed that.
Well, there's nothing more right now. There's an awful lot of doubt in Mike Stanley's mind. Now Gene Monahan, the trainer's going to come out and talk with him before we continue here. Said he's okay. No bones sticking out, so continue.
What a start for the Yankees. Paul O'Neill playing with that bad arm. Looks real bad, and then big at bat. Stanley doing the catching. Worried about his hand. First ball fouled off, hits him there. Next one fouls off again. He throws the ball out by second base. Base hit for White. Rickey will make the turn. He'll stay at third. And the Blue Jays first and third with nobody out.
Buck Showalter's got all kinds of problems tonight. Danny Tartabull barely got that ball in the outfield. All he did was lob it right back to the outfield because he's had a bad shoulder. Let's take a look at the at-bat by White. He's trying to go the other way, hits it into right field. Now watch Tartabull. He lays back on it and then just lobs it in. You could see he was grimacing as he threw it. Henderson just takes a casual turn around third and holds up. There's nobody out yet.
This is not a pretty sight for the New York Yankees. Their balls finding the guys who are hurt, and the guy who came to the plate in the key situation was hurt. Paul Molitor, the designated hitter, who most of this season has led the league for the best average with runners in scoring position. You see, is second to John Olerud overall. He's been at the top of getting people home in key situations, and here's another chance for him. Jimmy Key in trouble early on here in the first inning with 2 on and nobody out. Henderson's double, White's single. The 32-year-old who spent 9 years with Toronto, 116 wins and 81 losses with the Toronto Blue Jays. Now a Yankee. Well, this will be a tag up for sure. Tartabull in right field. He'll probably just lob it into second base. Throws it in. Devon White tags up. He goes. 1-0 Jays. And I'm not sure where Tartabull intended to throw that, but that wasn't any place to throw it.
No, he was in between. I think you're right. He had some thoughts of going to second. No way in the world he was going to throw out Rickey Henderson. Molitor cashes him in with the sac fly. Let's take a look at Tartabull. Now he sets up, tries to get some momentum going toward home, but you can see the grimace on his face. Now Devon White reads it very well, moves into second base. Mattingly lets it go, but Rickey Henderson's not even in the picture. He's already in the dugout cooling out.
Paul Molitor, 106 runs batted in, and it is a 1-0 lead. White goes down to second base. Buck, why even do that? I mean, that's a wasted play. That gives the Jays an extra base for no reason. Throw the ball to second base.
I don't know that everybody knows just how bad Tartabull's arm is.
And you can't believe he's kidding anybody out there.
No.
Here's Joe Carter. Talking about RBIs, here's the guy who's gotten it done for them this year. Their leader and third best in the league, Carter with 116. Third only behind Frank Thomas and Albert Bell. As Cecil Fielder will not set a new major league mark of another RBI season in which he leads. He's fallen behind the leaders and is not going to be able to catch Frank Thomas, who's on top. Bell and Carter have a long shot at him. Devon White with good speed on at second base. A run in here in the first. Back to the bag goes White.
Gary, already in this inning, just think about how the Blue Jays scored this first run. Rickey Henderson, it's a pop-up down the right field line. The Blue Jays make that play very easily with Joe Carter in the outfield defensively. But because of Henderson's speed, he gets to second base, and then comes in to score on Molitor's sac fly to right.
Breaking ball is into Carter. Well, Buck, that's been a very big problem for the Yankees this season, the defensive play. And it's not just making errors. It's not making plays you should make.
Right.
They haven't done it.
No, they haven't really thrown well. Tartable, of course, has been the DH most of the year. Paul O'Neill's the everyday right fielder, and he's a decent outfielder.
But he can't throw either. Mattingly is way over playing second base on Carter. They've got a big shift on here. Gallegos covering the bag against White and is virtually standing on it. Look where the second baseman is. That's Mattingly furthest to the right, who's almost playing a second base position. 1-1 delivery. Carter, and Stanley gets a ball off his hand again. Unbelievable. The third time in 4 batters that Stanley, who starts this game with a bad hand, has been hit. And Gene Monahan, the trainer's back.
Man, oh man. What a tough start for Mike Stanley. Watch that hand. It just creeps out there once again right squarely on that hand.
Those are shots.
There he gets the ethyl chloride out. Matt Noakes is putting on the gear just in case. I don't think Stanley can take too many more of these.
He's not going to be able to throw the ball anywhere. Putting that freeze on it, he's not going to have any feeling. He didn't have any anyway. Now he won't have any at all.
Yeah, he was very questionable for the start anyway. He went in and took batting practice. Buck Showalter said, I'd like Stanley to catch, but I don't know if he can.
See if he can throw the ball back to the mound.
I did this once in the minor leagues when I got hit on a foul tip. The manager was Jack McKee, and he came out to the mound, out to home plate, and said, listen, don't throw, because if you throw, they'll know you can't throw. I said, well, I think I better. He said, no, don't throw. I said, well, I think I better, and my hand was broken. I couldn't throw.
No, mercy. Well, it's no secret here, I'll tell you. Now, this is the first inning of this game, and Stanley's really wondering himself whether he can do this. In fact, he knows he can't throw.
Well, this is very disappointing because you come into a big series like this, and Mike Stanley's had a remarkable year. And I tell you what, he doesn't want to leave this game. But he might have to.
Joe Carter waiting for all of this. A ball, 2 strike count, 1 away. Devon White's on at second base. Carter's been one of the good hitters against left-handers, as you might expect. He's batting .299, has 9 home runs off the southpaws this season. There you see Devon White, what he has done stealing bases, and it's a lot. Fouls that one off the fists into the seats, no play on it. Count stays 1-2.
You know, Gary, when Jimmy Key was here at the Blue Jays and they picked up Devon White to play center field, Jimmy Key has such command of his pitches that he all of a sudden became more of a high ball pitcher. He pitched everybody up and away so they could hit the ball to Devon White. You can imagine how paranoid he is on the mound pitching in front of this team, thinking that he's got to be fairly perfect, particularly in the outfield. He's got a good infield defense behind him, particularly up the middle, with that combination of Velarde and Gallego and even Pat Kelly.
Carter goes after the high one again, 1-2. Yeah, it sure makes a distinct difference what's behind you as to how you pitch.
Oh,
sometimes we don't talk enough about that, I don't think. But here's an ideal situation, as you say, Buck, because it's entirely different from last year to this year for him.
It sure is. When you turn around and see Gold Glovers at just about every position on the field, you want to throw it over the plate. You don't worry about making a good pitch on the corner every time.
Buck Showalter wondering what is going on here in this first game, first inning. So far, nothing right. Yankees had a chance, couldn't convert. Jays come on, get 2 on, score a run. Stanley's hurt. Right fielder can't throw, and they've taken advantage of it already. And George Steinbrenner's upstairs watching. He's sitting down there to the right. Just see him behind the leg. 1-2. Carter again fights off Jimmy Key. Carter this season has struck out 109 times while drawing 42 walks, but he is not, even though 109 strikeouts, he's a tough guy. He's not one of the guys you get fanning a lot on bad pitches. He takes the big hearty cut and will miss sometimes, but he'll do what he's doing right now as well, and that's really fight it off. 1-2 delivery to him. That one again, of course, goes to right. Tartable coming over to White, tagging up. Tartable's got it. White says, go ahead, throw me out. No way. The relay can't get there either. Carter retired, 2 down.
Well, it didn't take long for the Blue Jays to pick up on Danny Tartable's arm, did they? Ball was just a short fly ball down the right field line, and White at second base tagged and kind of went over to third base in an in-your-face style.
So Cito Gaston, his team with a 1-0 lead. He has reason to smile here. He's looking out saying, this is a pretty beat-up team we're coming up against in this series. What numbers for Cito Gaston? And if they win it, this division title will be their 3rd in a row. Devon White, John Olerud pops it up. Wade Boggs at third base, and that will do it. So they get a run in. Good play by Jimmy Key to battle that off as he gives up only 1 after the first 2 are on. We've completed 1 at Skydome. Jays up. In his career,
39-11. This guy has the ability to win ball games, and he has very basic pitches. He's a 3-pitch pitcher. He throws the 4-seam fastball, and hitters talk about how lively it is. It really overpowers them, and it dances all over the strike zone. That's the fastball to get Tartable there. He has good command of it. This is the changeup, and this has really made him a pitcher. That's the grip he used to throw the changeup, and this is the changeup to Paul O'Neill when he was expecting the fastball and chases it out of the strike zone.
he goes to work here against Mike Stanley. Williams and Gallego to follow. Great season for Stanley. He's trying to become the 4th catcher in American League history to hit 25 home runs and have a .300 average. And I'll tell you, if he joins the other 3, what a choice group. Bill Dickey, Yogi Berra, and Carlton Fisk. I thought Buck Martinez
I was going to be there, huh?
Yes, I did.
I didn't add up to 25 home runs.
1 for honesty. 1-1 delivery to Stanley is outside, 2-1.
Oh, he's had a great year here in New York. This is the first opportunity that he's really had to play every day. And early in the season, Buck Showalter went to him and said, hey, man, you're my catcher. And look what he's done. 1 home run every 15 at-bats this year. His swing is really tailor-made to Yankee Stadium. He hits a lot of balls to right center.
Guzman keeping it down and away on him, 2-2. What a season this guy has had. I told you, 6-game winning streak over his last 8 starts. The team has won 21 games. They're 21-10 when he has started. He's had a lot of non-decision games that have been close ball games. He keeps the team in even when he doesn't get the decision himself. Stanley is gone. 3 strikeouts for Guzman. Gary Miller's keeping us updated tonight. Gary?
All right, Gary, thank you. Let's check out the Expos trying to hang on. The Phil's magic number is 5 in the East, but the Expos are going into Shea and going on top early on rookie Bobby Jones. Darren Fletcher cranks his 9th home run of the year. Montreal's up 1-0. Chris Nabholz is starting for him. It's his first appearance in a month coming back from injury as we go back to Skydome.
Gary, thank you. We'll keep you posted on the other games as the races are effected.
Well, the Expos are optimistic. They've got their scouting department here tonight. Take a look at the Blue Jays.
Got to do it.
Yeah.
You never know. Bernie Williams, 3 strikeouts in a row have been recorded by Guzman. Tartable O'Neill in the first. Stanley here to lead off the second. And Williams, the center fielder up there with 1 down, nobody on. 0-1 pitch to him. 1-1.
Bernie Williams has really flourished since they put him down in the 6th spot. They had him up in the leadoff spot, and basically he became too selective, worried more about getting on base than he was about hitting. Really freed up his swing when they dropped him down in the lineup.
Guzman is about as nasty a pitcher as there is in baseball, isn't he, with that stuff he throws?
Let me tell you, like so many great pitchers, you get Juan Guzman on the ropes, you better KO him. They had a chance to score on him in the first inning, and he shut him out, and now he struck out 3 in a row.
The off-speed pitch, the changeup he throws with movement, the slider, movement, fastball, 96, 97. All over the strike zone. 4 strikeouts in a row. Bernie Williams is out number 2 in the second.
Right here is another one of those real good breaking pitches down in the strike zone, and then this is the strikeout of Stanley, where he just overpowers him upstairs, well over 90 miles an hour on the radar gun. You know, Gary, a lot of hitters come back from home plate not really sure about what they just struck out on.
He throws so hard and so much movement on the ball, and they all look the same coming out of his hand. Mike Gallego takes the strike 2 down for the Yankees. Nobody on. Gallego's never been able to get a hit off Guzman in limited times against him. 0 for 7. 1-0 lead for the Jays. First of 3 in the final 3 games to be played here during the regular season for the Toronto Blue Jays. They will be finishing up on the road next week, including the final 4 games against the Baltimore Orioles. Will they mean anything? We don't know yet, but right now the Jays are making a run at seeing to it that it doesn't.
Well, 10 days ago, they were very concerned about that 7-day road trip.
Now they may go out the division champions with a little help. They win all 3. Their pitching has been phenomenal, Buck. I mean, the turnaround for this team in pitching. The last 22 games, their ERA is 3.13. The opposition's hitting .214 in the last 11 games against Toronto. Their relief pitchers are first in ERA in the league. The starters have gone 6 or more innings in 21 of the last 24 starts. A month ago, those numbers weren't even close to that.
No, not at all. And what has happened is, even though Cito Gaston has so many offensive weapons, during this recent hot streak, the starters won every game. We're getting great starting pitching, and as we all know, starting pitching sets the tone for the ball game.
3-1 delivery, foul back, full count.
That's what the starters have done right there. 10 straight they've won. They have really pitched well. They pitched late into the game, and they're pitching confidently. Boy, you talk about peaking at the right time.
And there's the walk. That is the second, given up by Guzman. Comes with 2 down here in the second inning, and Mike Gallego gets it, working the count to 3-2, and then drawing the walk. So with 2 down and a runner on, Randy Velarde will be coming up against Guzman. Guzman now has struck out 186 on the season. He's trying to get over that 200 mark, and if he can do that, he will be the first Blue Jays pitcher ever to have a 200 strikeout season. And it sure looks like he's going to make it the way he's cruising right now. Not tonight, but he will in the season.
Well, it's pretty remarkable that he would be the first when you consider Dave Stieb pitched here for so many years. Jim Clancy was a good strikeout pitcher. But Guzman is a very legitimate strikeout pitcher.
2 down, Gallego off first. Velarde waiting. Outside to him, ball 1. One of the hottest of the Yankee hitters right now, Randy Velarde. 453 for the month of September.
You know, Gary, that really hurt him when they lost Velarde with that hip injury that he had in the collision in the outfield. Took him a while to get back from that.
Goes the other way, curving, foul. Not far from the 328 mark on the wall.
You know, Randy Velarde is such a valuable player for this team because he can play so many different positions. If Buck Showalter wants to juggle the lineup a bit, he can move Velarde to the outfield, play him in left field. He can play short, third, second. And one thing that Buck has a lot of is very competent middle infielders with Velarde, Gallego, and Pat Kelly.
Well, he missed a lot of games, Buck. June 5 to July 30. That's a huge point in the season to have somebody like him out. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 down. Jays lead 1-0. Guzman checking Gallego at first, inside to Velarde. 2 balls, 1 strike. They'll have yet another full house on hand here tonight at Toronto. They are averaging 50,082. They've drawn 3,906,000 plus. And they aren't number 1. Can you believe that? Colorado posting record numbers for Major League Baseball this year. That one blooped down the right field line. What is it about that territory? The dive for it, not caught. Making the turn, Gallego. He'll stay there as Olerud gets the play, gets the ball in. Good try. Carter in the outfield. Didn't get it, though, and it'll be a base hit for Velarde.
Even though he didn't catch it, he short-hopped it. and that saves a run. If that ball bounces off the AstroTurf one more time, Gallego can score. But look at Carter hustling in from his position. Alomar doing the same from second. They look at one another, and they both have an idea nobody's going to catch this. But look at how Carter smothered it. If this ball bounces one time, it's over his head. Gallego scores. Velarde's at least at second. Larry Young right on top of it. Dan Morrison, excuse me, is the first base umpire.
Well, here's the chance now. Wade Boggs, 2 down, first and third. Boggs, who has always been one of the game's premier hitters in clutch situations, has a chance to tie this ball game up with a base hit right here. First and third, 2 away. And the Jays leading 1-0. Boggs hitting .279. Runners in scoring position this year. Guzman got it. Inside, Boggs went the other way. Game tied. Gallego scores, and Wade Boggs picks up his 56th RBI of the season on the inside out swing. Well, that was a Wade Boggs kind of hit, wasn't it?
Well, he can cut a line drive to left field as good as anybody. Right-handed or left-handed. Take a look at this swing. Inside out, he stays behind the ball and slices it by Ed Sprague. The ball is actually off the plate inside. Sprague got a late break on it. I don't think he saw it very well off the bat. And he could have been fooled because it was so far inside. He didn't expect Boggs to be able to.
One, but the Yankees cannot be feeling too good about it. That last play, as Buck and I were talking between innings, typical of the kind of season Yankees are having. As you take a look at Roberto Alomar leading it off. He's hitting 6th here in this game against the left-hander Jimmy Key. Takes the pitch down low, 2-0. You cannot get picked off third base with a third out when the situation is bases loaded. Don Mattingly.
No, and those are the types of things that Buck Showalter has seen too much of lately. You know, the Yankees aren't blessed with an awful lot of speed, so you have a tendency to want to get that extra jump or make a little wider turnaround bases. But right there, he's got to have some help from Cleve Boyer, third base coach, who looked like he was throwing up the stop sign for Velarde. But you've got to be aware that if Alomar doesn't have a play, he's coming right to third base. He does it all the time.
And you got to go with your coach. You can't see the ball. Alomar to right field. Tarnable was playing in. He's got plenty of time to back up on it. Roberto Alomar retired on the fly ball to right. He's been on base 29 straight games. That's what a table setter he's been. He's also hitting the home runs, getting RBIs. Jimmy Key gets him in his first at-bat here in this ball game. 1 down in the second inning. 32-year-old, 17-5 after a 13-13 season last year, has defeated his former teammates twice this season. Takes on Tony Fernandez with 1 down and nobody on. Well, Fernandez, since coming over from the Mets, brought the right bats with him. He's just turned it around. 308 on the season. You saw the numbers for him. 49 RBIs, even 4 home runs. Switch hitter. Key. Mattingly. 2 down. Gary Miller.
Mr. Thorne, let's check out the vet with the Braves are in town, and Tom Glavine in a jam in the early innings. The Braves just missed the double play on the grounder before, and then Lemke and Blauser collide on Chamberlain's chopper. They've got a run. They're still batting with the bases loaded. As we go back to Skydome with Gary and Buck.
Thanks, Gary. Well, what do you think? Is that it? Is that the matchup? National League Championship Series?
Giants don't think so yet. I bet you they're watching that game out in San Francisco.
There'll be some mighty good baseball played in that series, I'll tell you.
You bet.
2 down here with the bases empty. Jimmy Key working to Sprague. Was 0 for 7 against Key in the chances he's had in the 2 games played thus far this season. 1-1 ball game. Yankees 5.5 games behind Toronto. Get their last shot at them in these 3 games here. Season series this season. Toronto has the edge 6-4. They have won 2 of the 3 games played here at Skydome. However, both these teams have done some pretty good spanking of the baseball against the other's pitching staffs. 4 straight. Jimmy Key, 37th walk, only the 37th he's given up in 225 innings. 1 on, 2 down. Pat Borders. Borders with a chance to keep the inning going. They'll play him to pull the ball as Gallego moves over. The second baseman playing way around by the bag. Off speed, gets away from Stanley. Not going anywhere is Sprague. 1 strike count on Borders. Borders again has been on top in number of games caught. He is a workman behind the plate. 129 games. He led the league last year with 136.
Cito Gaston does a pretty good job of resting his regulars. He will make sure that they get back-to-back days off every once in a while. There's a good changeup for strike 3 from Key.
That is going to be the first strikeout for Jimmy Key. 1 on, 1 left. 1-1.
Miller Genuine Draft. MGD brings you this date in baseball. It was 5 years ago on September 24th that Dave Steve in the old Blue Jay uniforms had a no-hitter going with some outstanding defense behind him. He's down to his last out. 1 out away when Julio Franco gets the bad hop. It goes into center field. There goes the no-hitter. 2 years later, September 2nd of 1990, Steve would finally get it against the Indians. Now let's go back to Skydome with Gary and Buck.
And some more history being made here by the Toronto Blue Jays as this game's tied 1-1, but they've got first place to their little lonesome right now. Biggest lead they've had all season, 5.5 games. Don Mattingly. Mattingly should have been up with the bases loaded in the second inning. And as we mentioned, he's a 400 hitter with runners in scoring position and 2 out. That's the situation the Yankees gave up when Velarde got thrown out because he took too big a turn at third base. Guzman, the fastball missing. 1 ball, 1 strike to Mattingly. Donnie has wanted so desperately to get into postseason play. It is turning into a very heartbreaking season for Mattingly. Towards short, Fernandez. Flat-footed, throws him out. 1 down in the third. He's had a great year, but September, when he really wanted to come through, it hasn't been there for him nor for his teammates.
You got to believe some of that is just the pressure of him trying to carry the whole ball club on his shoulders.
Danny Tartabull takes the strike. Tartabull struck out his first time up. Guzman has walked 2 and struck out 4. But Yankees have been able to get a run up on the board to tie it up. Tartabull looking at the breaking ball down and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tartabull, one of the few members of this team who's not hit well at Yankee Stadium, but has done better on the road. 282 on the road, 206 at Yankee Stadium. He has said publicly the reason for that is that he feels the pressure playing at home. Garcia got a piece of that one. I think they should move the umpire and catcher behind the pitcher.
It's a rough night back there, isn't it?
Let the ball go to the backstop.
Another foul tip catches Richie Garcia right on the mask.
He's going, I'm not even supposed to be here. 1-2 delivery. Guzman misses outside.
Gary, that's that pitch that Guzman has used here in the second half of the season very effectively. It's a little slider, but what he's done is he's flattened it out, and it's a shorter breaking slider than his normal one. He's got much better command of it. It's a new wrinkle for hitters to think about. Now, there's the bigger one that has more downward break to it.
Well, it must have worked, Buck. I was looking at those numbers pre and post All-Star as far as what the opposition's done against him. I mean, he's lowered the opposition's batting average from 273 to 223. Pretty significant. Not that he wasn't winning in the first half, because he was, but second half he's been even tougher. In the last 10 games, he's been impossible to figure out for the opposition.
Well, you know, Juan has always been a tough guy to get many hits off of. Last year, opponents hit just 207 against him. count. Now that's a wild pitch.
That's a real wild pitch. Third walk of the game off Guzman. Carnival is on. O'Neill coming up. First, we'll check in with Gary.
We take you back to the vet. The Phils, magic number is 5. The Braves lead over the Giants is 2.5. And with the bases loaded, his old teammate, Tommy Green, plunks one in front of Ronnie Gann off Tom Glavine. That brings in Chamberlain and Incaviglia. Green, 9-0 at home this year. Phils in command, 3-0. Back to you.
Look at the cheering going on there. Are they having a good time in Philadelphia this year after all those seasons of waiting, or what, huh? Paul O'Neill goes after the fastball, fouls it off. Runner on at first is Danny Tarnable. One down, and O'Neill, a strikeout victim, his first time up. O'Neill's done a good job for the Yankees this season. 75 runs batted in. 20 home runs, over 300 with the average. He's playing in his 139th game of the year. Here's Tarnable at first. One delivery. Slowed that one up a little bit. Went for the knees. 1 ball, 1 strike. O'Neill questioning it. Yankees have been an under 500 team on the road. They're 35-40. They were under 500 last year. They finished up 35-46. So road games over the last few seasons a problem for the Yankees. Down to first. John Olerud 1. Got to tag him at second. Tony Dow's double play. John Olerud right to the bag, made the good tough throw from first to second. Tony Fernandez there to put it on. 1-1. That's all right.
Well, he's a major distraction. Hitters and pitchers don't want to fall behind him, but he has the ability to hit the ball out of the ballpark. He's hit 8 home runs against Key. And you know you don't want to walk him.
The 11th time in his career now that he has scored 100 or more runs. That's a phenomenal number. Deep to left field, way back. Goodbye, Ricky.
The Blue Jays have been waiting for some Ricky Henderson to show up, and it's shown up here this week. 2 home runs this week. That's the 9th home run he's hit off Jimmy Key.
Foul ball by Devon White. 2-1 lead, Toronto.
Take a look at this home run swing. A fastball, and there is no doubt. Look at Henderson. Blue Jays been waiting a while to see some of that style. Last night he had one of those patented Ricky Henderson catches where he flipped the ball up out of his glove. He homered Wednesday night, and now he takes Jimmy Key deep.
21 home runs on the season for Ricky and 59 RBIs and 109 runs scored. Devon White is punched out by Jimmy Key, and it's the first out here in the third. Henderson absolutely owns Jimmy Key. His lifetime batting average has now gone over 410, along with those 9 home runs in his career. I mean, that's an unbelievable number. And Jimmy Key said something about it before the game. He said, there's no explanation. He said, I just can't get him out. And once the pitcher starts thinking that way, he's in big trouble.
Yeah, and the hitter has a lot of confidence because Henderson knows he sees the ball well out of Key's hands. Jimmy throws an awful lot of pitches down in the strike zone where Ricky really likes the ball.
Paul Molitor picked up an RBI his first time up with a sacrifice fly for the first run. Came in the first inning, bringing Ricky Henderson home. Henderson had led that half of the inning off with a double. Jimmy Key losing his footing on that one. 2 balls and no strikes as he literally bounced off the mound. Key is susceptible to the home run ball. He's given up 26, including 20 to right-handers. That 20th was hit by Henderson. 11 it, isn't he? Second walk given up by Key as Molitor's on with Carter coming up first. Gary Miller.
Gary, Toronto's looking good. Who will they face in the playoffs if they hold on to win that division? Could be Frank Thomas and the White Sox. If they sweep, they will take out the Rangers. Dean Palmer trying a little too hard. That throw is nowhere. It'll bring home Rock Rain. Speaking of rocks, how about George Bell? Unloading later in the inning off Kevin Brown. His 13th of the year scored Thomas. They've scored 4, and they're not done yet in the first. Back to you.
Poured on. How about Belson's coming off the DL?
Yeah, his knee was really bothering him all year long, and he didn't want to have the surgery, but now that it's healthy again, he's starting to pound the ball.
Joe Carter taps that one foul, went off his foot in the batter's box. One down with Paul Molitor on at first base, a run in on Ricky Henderson's home run in the third. And a 2-1 lead for the Jays. Jays now have picked up 3 hits off Jimmy Key. Joe Carter's numbers on the season. Pretty good lead at first base by Molitor that time, so he draws the throw. These are 2 of the best offensive teams in the American League, with New York coming in first in average, first in homers, and 4th in runs. Toronto 2nd in average, but 3rd in runs and 6th in home runs. So these 2 have been at the top. The difference between them has been the pitching. And Toronto, even though they've struggled with it this season, has done better than the Yankees have. And that has kept them on top. 16 times the Yankees tied Toronto for first place. Twice the Yankees tied Boston for first place. Never once were the Yankees able to gain that position for themselves alone.
That wears on you.
Whoa.
You know, you have a chance to move into first place, and each night Blue Jays would win, Yankees would win, and the Blue Jays would lose, and the Yankees would lose. They could never move into that top spot. There was always an awful lot of anxiety over this, and finally, I think they just got worn out mentally.
And physically, by the looks of things, huh? 0-1 delivery by Key. Carter fouling it off. No balls, 2 strikes. Key with a breaking ball, down and in on him.
You know, Gary, after Jim Abbott's no-hitter, everybody felt like that might be the shot in the arm that really turns on the Yankees in the month of September. But since Abbott's no-hitter, they've only gone 6-10. And an ERA of 5.50. They just didn't build from that. Jim Abbott himself didn't have a very good outing the next time out at all.
Alito Perez is struggling. He's got a bad shoulder. 0-2 delivery. Carter to third. A foul ball as Boggs went diving for it. Jimmy Key is putting up the kind of numbers that will probably garner him some votes as far as the Cy Young Award's concerned. The closest he came was in '87. He was second to Roger Clemens. He was 17-8 with a 2.76 ERA. Just talking about that, Buck and I, and who we would vote for the Cy Young Award. You got the 22-game winner, Jack McDowell, of course, of Chicago, certainly has got to be one of the favorites. Kevin Apier is going to get some votes. Carter to short. Velarde, Gallego, Don Mattingly. They turn the double play. But Jimmy Key in trouble with Ricky Henderson yet one more time for the 9th time in his career. He hit a home run. This one came leading off the third, and he drilled it second deck in left field to give Toronto the 2-1 lead. Working to Stanley, Bernie Williams, and Gallego. 2-3-0 for the Jays, 1-4-0 for the Yankees. The line score over the first 3. The Yankees have already stranded 4, 2 in scoring position in this game off Guzman. Stanley takes the pitch for a ball. Yankees got their run in the second inning. RBI single by Boggs, scoring Gallego had reached on the walk. Molitor a sacrifice fly in the first, scoring Henderson, who doubled, and Ricky Henderson with the home run for the second run for the Blue Jays. 1 ball, 1 strike. That was just kind of smiling and looking at Buck here and saying Ricky Henderson now has 2 home runs, 12 RBIs since coming over in 38 games with Toronto. But in 38 games, he's now scored 32 runs. That's pretty amazing for a 200 batting average since getting here.
Yeah, he's just pressing a bit when he first got here. He wanted to gain the respect of his new teammates immediately, and he caused himself some problems. Plus, he had some nagging injuries. Remember, he had the ice burn on his foot that caused him to miss some games, and then he hurt his wrist. Then he got hit by a pitch. He had some nagging things that didn't allow him to really swing the bat that well.
And his wife's back home, ready to give birth for their 3rd child. Swung on and missed. Stanley out of there, 1 down. Question for Ricky Henderson now is, where is he going to be next year? Oakland says we might like him back. Ricky?
I have a great feeling about coming back to Toronto. I always feel that, you know, the team that I'm on at the end of the season have the first shot. If Toronto is interested in me coming back here, I'll be happy to come back to Toronto.
What do you think, Buck?
Well, Cito would be happy to have him back. Whether or not the financial people can afford the extra payload, I don't know.
Some more World Series money, playoff money. Hey, come on. Bernie Williams, a strikeout victim. 1 down, nobody on. Strike 1.
Well, you know, Jack Morris's injury is such that he probably won't be back next year, and he had a $5 million contract for next season. Unfortunate injury there. He had a torn ligament in his elbow. Finished for the season.
And just in time, the other starters for Toronto picked up the slack. Guzman with high heat. 1 ball and 1 strike. Dave Stewart's gone out, won 3 in a row. Even though he's hurting a little bit, he's got his hat on backwards. Little rally cap he puts on, and he's having fun. He loves it. He is a quality gamer in tough situations. He's a money ball player, Dave Stewart.
And his name is going to be prominent in who pitches opening game of the playoffs when they wrap this thing up. It'd be an interesting argument. Pat Henkin, the youngsters, had a great year, 18 wins. Juan Guzman's on a high right now. Todd Stottlemyre's really throwing well for the Blue Jays. Just a complete game last time out. Beat Roger Clemens.
2-1 pitch, foul tipped into the mitt. If I could set it up, Stewart, Guzman, Stottlemyre, Henkin.
That's the way you do it?
That's the way I'd do it.
How about starting Guzman and really demoralizing the opponents the first night out?
Yeah.
And then knowing, well, if you get beat by Guzman, you got Stewart in game 2.
And an 18-game winner waiting to pitch, or a 19 or 20-game winner by the time it's done. It's a pretty nice thing to have to choose. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bernie Williams waiting, fouls it back.
Well, the White Sox aren't exactly chopped liver in the pitching department. They can run out there some pretty good arms, too, who are throwing well right now, too. Jack McDowell, I'm sure, would lead the parade for them. And then Alex Fernandez, Wilson Alvarez, and Jason Varese really come on in the second half of the season.
Belcher in the pen.
And Roberto Hernandez.
Yep. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bernie Williams pops it up. Third base side. Borders gives chase. Diving. Boy, what a great try. Didn't get it. He had to get too close. He slid. What a great effort by Pat Borders.
It looked like it actually hit him on the heel of his glove. He got to it, but with the slide, take a look at it. Now he's sliding, and he actually got to it, but then slips right into the dugout. It's reminiscent of George Brett in the World Series going into the dugout in St. Louis.
That was the friendly side there. Bernie Williams, 2 balls, 2 strikes. He's fighting off Guzman, who has walked 3 and struck out 5 in the game. Right-hander got it in on the fists again, and Williams is not able to get around on any of these, but he's getting enough on it to foul it off. Keeps the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You know, here's a guy that really benefited from the season that the Yankees have had. I think now they recognize that Bernie Williams is a very good outfielder, and he has some promise as a hitter. Hitting .271. He's got 64 RBIs. He's probably best suited down where he's hitting now, as we talked about earlier. But defensively, he's got the ability to go left center, right center in the outfield at Yankee Stadium.
Guzman just reared back. 6 strikeouts, 2 in the inning.
Well, Bernie Williams put up a fight, but he just can't catch up to that high heater. 6 strikeouts.
Not much you can do with that. Guzman, when he's on, we've had him up 96, 97 miles an hour with these fastballs tonight. Then all you got to worry about as a right-handed hitter is that off-speed cutter, that little slider down and away that kind of freezes your knees. 2 down, bases empty. Gallego scored the Yankee run, walked in the second, came around in the single by Boggs. Mike's kind of incredible. Year after year, he just keeps pounding it out. Gives you solid defense, even though he doesn't have a lot of range, and at the plate puts up outstanding numbers for a guy who consistently hits at the bottom of the order. And Mike Gallego, picked up by the Yankees, has certainly given them a season again.
Well, he has, and I think last year was a big learning experience for Gallego. He signed as a free agent, came to New York, and had a very disappointing season. Sure, he had some injuries, but overall, I think it was a huge disappointment for him.
He's gone. There's that one down and away and out of the strike zone. Guzman strikes the side out in the 4th inning. He's got 7 in the game. And we want to remind you, coming up here on ESPN, second half of our doubleheader, it'll be the Padres taking on the Giants. Scott Sanders against Scott Sanderson. Phil Plantier, 95 RBIs. Bonds going after that MVP with some great numbers, and the Giants still very much in it. John Olerud takes the pitch from Jimmy Key, inside ball 1. 2-1 Jays on top. Olerud, Alomar, and Fernandez in the 4th inning towards second, and a solid base hit. Cut off by Bernie Williams, and John Olerud is on. He's batting .417 coming into this game against the Yankees this year. Picks up the single. And boy, he really spanked that one.
Well, you know, it's been a struggle for Olerud here in the month of September, but he has smoothed out his approach at the plate. There for a while, he got awfully defensive at the plate, which is hard to imagine for a guy that's hitting .365. He came into this situation. Everybody was talking so much about 400. I think he just got worn out mentally by it, but we certainly don't want to forget what a great season he's put together.
Still leads the league. I mean, he's going to pick up a batting title this season. He is 10th in runs batted in, 1st in on-base percentage, 3rd in slugging on for John Olerud. Roberto Alomar. Alomar in a unique situation with Olerud and Paul Molitor, as the Toronto Blue Jays have the top 3 hitters. Olerud, Molitor, Alomar in that order in the American League. Takes the pitch down low. All 3 also have hit career highs in home runs and RBIs, with Molitor and Olerud already over 100 and Alomar at 88. There's Paul Molitor. 2-0 pitch, misses up high.
You know, Gary, oftentimes when you talk about a championship season for a ball club, you can look throughout the lineup and there's 1 or 2 guys having career years, but to have 3 of them in the lineup. Olerud got off to a phenomenal start all the way back in April when he hit .450. Molitor has just really fit right in here. His particular style of play is perfect in Skydome. He hits a lot of line drives, takes advantage of the spacious gaps here in the alleys.
Squares he was taking. Alomar's on. That is the 3rd walk given up by Jimmy Key in the game. He'd surrendered only 36 in 223 innings coming into it, so not typical control for Jimmy Key.
No, it's not, Gary. And Jimmy Key is the type of pitcher that always likes to go strike 1. But tonight, just 6 of the 15 batters he's faced, he started out with a strike. He's been behind all night long. Clete Boyer up in the dugout, thinking about the defensive alignment here, expecting a bunt from Fernandez. Now Mattingly goes over and talks to Jimmy Key. Jimmy Key's an outstanding fielder. He'll get off the mound quickly. If Fernandez leaves it around the mound toward third base, Key can probably take a shot at Olerud at third.
Boggs moves in at third base. Tony Fernandez, with nobody out, 2 on, does square, tries to drop it down to first to get Mattingly to play it. Strike 1. He has 4 sacrifices this season.
Well, the Blue Jays as a team don't sacrifice an awful lot. Cito Gaston has so much confidence in their makeup at the plate. They can advance runners by hitting the ball on the right side. They don't have to take the bat out of their hands that often. But here, first and second, nobody out against a tough pitcher, Jimmy Key. He wants Fernandez to move him along.
Toronto's 9th in sacrifices. Yankees are last. Mattingly looking at third. Boggs tries to get back to the bag. No play there. He goes to Gallego, and that's the 5th sacrifice for Fernandez. Olerud moves over to third. Alomar down to second with 1 out.
Well, it's just about the only place Fernandez could have put the ball down, because he really hit it right in the crease between Mattingly and Key. Now, Key's going to break off toward third base. Mattingly charging hard from first. And it gets right in the crease, just far enough away from Mattingly that he has no chance at all at Olerud at third. Good bunt by Fernandez.
Big chance here for the Jays to extend their 2-1 lead. Ed Sprague will have the infield drawn in. He drew a walk his first time up. 2 on and 1 out. And Jimmy Key misses outside to Sprague, who has never hit off Key. 0 for 7. Sprague's got a chance here to be a big factor in this game. 2:30 with runners in scoring position this season. 1-0 delivery by Key. Off-speed breaking ball in. Before I leave a point, I was looking for this in my notes here. We talked about the top 3 hitters being from Toronto. The only time 3 teammates have finished in the top 10 in a season in hitting, the 76 Reds, Griffey, Rose, and Morgan. It's the only time that's happened, which amazes me. I would first think of all those great Yankee teams with home runs and power and some pretty good averages. But that's the only time it's happened. 3 teammates finishing in the top 10 in hitting. And the Blue Jays, most assuredly, I would think, are going to be the second team to do that. Inside corner. Great pitch on Sprague, who thought it missed. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, that's what Jimmy Key does to you. He never really gives in. Take a look at this last pitch. Shirley right over the inside corner.
Cut the front part of the plate right off. Olerud off third. Alomar off second. 2-2 to Sprague. Got him on the off speed outside. Third strikeout for Jimmy Key. 2 down.
Boy, what a good pitch there. He had Sprague on the pitch before, thinking about the inside corner, and then he goes backdoor with the curveball. Watch Stanley slide outside. Key drops that hook out away from Sprague, and he's really uncertain whether or not that ball's over the corner because of the previous pitch, and he has to go after it.
Let's see if Key can work his way out of this. 2 down. Borders. He comes right back. Borders is in the on-deck circle watching the elastic pitch to strike out Sprague. So what's the first thing he sees about as hard as Jimmy Key can throw?
Right inside. Ties him right up. He is very aware on the mound. He really reads how hitters are swinging at him.
0-1 delivery. Olerud reached on the single. He's at third. Alomar drew the third walk given up by Jimmy Key. He's at second. Borders the RBI chance. Montreal, you saw, trying to keep their hopes alive, have the lead. 2 balls, 1 strike on Borders. Buck Showalter's one of the, no question, one of the truly fine young managers of this game. 2-1 delivery. Ooh, Borders is not going to like that. 2-2.
Boy, what he did there was he came with a 2-1 changeup, and it might have been a bit outside by that shot there. Borders didn't say much to Richie Garcia.
Key 1 strike away from getting out of this inning. The 2-2 to Borders. Borders is having a real fine season against the Yankees, batting .310 against them. home run and 3 RBIs. He had a home run last night against the Red Sox. Minchie, first home run in 48 games for Pat Borders. 2-2 count on him here. Key. Breaking ball. Base hit. Making the turn, Alomar. The throw coming in by Williams. Cut off. 2 runs in. 4-1 Jays.
Well, it looked like Jimmy Key was going to get out of this situation, but Pat Borders hangs tough, gets the ball away from him, and he rips it into center field to give the Jays a 3-run cushion. He tries to go outside with that hook again, the same pitch that he got Sprague on, and maybe Borders made a mental note. With 2 strikes, Key was going to go away from him. Gallego dives for it, but can't flag it down. It's into center field, and Borders picks up a couple of ribbies.
Olerud and Alomar across the plate. George has taken the jacket off. And the breaking ball to Ricky Henderson misses down low. 4 runs on 5 hits for Toronto off Jimmy Key. For Pat Borders, 53 runs batted in. Ricky's perfect on the night. An RBI, double home run, his 21st of the year. 2 runs scored. Key feeds him the off-speed curveball. Gets it in. 1 ball and 1 strike. And these are the Jays that Buck Showalter had hoped would not do well against the left-hander, Jimmy Key. Remember that Toronto comes into this game 17-23 against left-handed starters, batting .261 against the southpaws this year. So the Yankees are throwing southpaws in all 3 of these games, but it's not working yet. Back to first is Borders. Two balls, 1 strike on Henderson. Ricky on the off-speed pitch again out in front of it. 2-2.
Well, the Yankees felt that if they could get Key off to a good start here against Toronto, he might be able to neutralize his potent attack. And then Tonana, who they just picked up from the Mets, is the same type of pitcher, Jimmy Key, maybe even a little bit more of a finesse pitcher.
2-2 the count. Borders is running. Believe it or not, Stanley didn't get him. Pretty good throw with that bad hand to Mike Stanley. But a stolen base for Pat Borders. Some folks giving him a standing ovation. It's his 2nd of the year.
Certainly has to be thinking about Mike Stanley and his beat-up throwing hand. Borders is no gazelle, but he uses the element of surprise. Mike Stanley has been beaten up on the hand all night long. Gallego with the tag swipes at Borders. Al Clark calls him safe, and Gallego can't believe it. One more look at it. Wants the foot. Bang, bang at second.
3-2 delivery to Henderson to left field. Deion James. And that will do it. Henderson retired, but 2 runs added on a big 2-out, 2 RBI single by Pat Borders off Key. George Steinbrenner says,
One writer wrote that Buck and I had loud, heated arguments and that Buck had threatened to resign. And I'm stating unequivocally that that never happened, that the writer that wrote it's a liar. I'm calling him a liar on public television. Let him sue me. Let him prove that it happened, because it never happened. But these young fellas, they get carried away sometimes, and I understand their problems. You've got 10 newspapers, you got 20 television stations and 100 radio stations, all of them competing to try to get another sensational story for their editor.
So there.
He didn't mince his words, did he?
No.
I think we know what he thinks about it.
Center field. Devon White backing up. Randy Velarde's fly ball is hauled in. 1 away in the 5th. Steinbrenner was also unequivocal about supporting his manager, Buck Showalter. Steinbrenner, if he's telling us the truth, wants Buck Showalter back. Showalter, talking to some of the Yankee people who've been around this club, including that guy sitting next to him, Don Mattingly, said, look, they talk about Tommy Lasorda and how he bleeds Dodger blue. Well, Buck Showalter bleeds pinstripes. It's his whole baseball life has been in this organization, just like Mattingly. He doesn't want to be anywhere else.
And right now, the sting of the way the month of September is unfolding is awfully severe. But I think when they get back in the offseason and reflect on the year, it's been a pretty positive season for New York overall.
Boggs on the check swing. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Boggs had a single RBI in the second, the only Yankee run of the game.
Harry Wade Boggs wants to send along his best wishes to his father down in Gainesville, Florida, Win Boggs, who's recovering in the hospital. And we do the same. Mr. Boggs, hope you're feeling better real soon.
Very close relationship between father and son. Wade to center field on that one. White again was playing over to left. This time hauls it in. 2 down. Gary.
Budweiser takes us to Camden Yards. The Orioles could pass the Yankees if they lose, but they've got to beat the Tigers. Travis Fryman had already homered off Jamie Moore. Then he boots this one in. And Dan Gladden will come around to score. Tigers are threatening again in the 7th. They lead 2-0 behind John Doherty. We go back to you in Skydome.
Gary, thank you. Here we've got a 4-1 ball game with the Jays on top. Their magic number at 5. They've won 10 of their last 11. The Yankees have lost their last 3. As they had a homestand where they only won a couple and lost 4 at home. That really hurt them. Deion James on twice. 8 hits in his last 23 at-bats. Bases empty here, though, and 2 down in the 5th. Olerud still had plenty of time to get there. And Guzman retires the side in order. He has retired the last 7 batters he's faced. Marquise Grissom, one of the names mentioned, maybe to end up in New York somewhere. Depends on who Montreal decides they want to keep and who they're willing to put out on the market.
Well, we talked to Dan Duquette on Wednesday night, and he said he was going to keep all his young players. Going to try to sign them all.
What bank is he buying? Devon White fouls it back.
Well, they've had such a strong second half, and to keep the nucleus together is very important, which includes Moise Alou, Marquise Grissom, Larry Walker, Delano DeShields. That's some good young players that are just about on the verge of making big things happen in Montreal.
They are good young players. They're fun to watch.
Yeah.
A fun team to watch play. 2 ball, 1 strike count. Jimmy Key working to Devon White. Single came in the 1st inning. Gets the outside corner with that 2 balls, 2 strikes. Mets are looking for somebody to catch the baseball because, as David Letterman said last night, in the top 10 reasons why the New York Mets have lost 100 games and will lose more. Infield single for Devon White. David Letterman said baseballs are harder to catch than explosive objects.
Devon White has an infield single. Now watch Jimmy Key's reaction when this ball goes over his head. Once he knows he can't make the play, he knows nobody's going to make it. Devon White has too good a speed. Randy Velarde charging from shortstop thinks about the play, but he doesn't have a shot.
Lead off single. Well, Toronto, for the 4th time in 5 innings, has had their leadoff man on base. That converts into runs. Paul Molitor sack fly in the 1st for the RBI. And they are doing that against one of the toughest pitchers in that department, Jimmy Key. Key's career, one of the reasons he's so successful is that he rarely allows the leadoff man to get on base.
Tonight he's trying to be too fine, I think, trying to make the perfect pitch on the 1st pitch.
Nice play by Velarde over to Mattingly. Molitor hits into the double play and hard. 2 down.
Second double play of the night behind Jimmy Key, and that was a sharply hit ball. Velarde goes to his left, takes the 1 hopper, and then he knows it's just a matter of stepping on the bag and taking it himself. So Jimmy Key erases that leadoff single by White.
Last season, Jimmy Key held leadoff hitters to a .228 on-base percentage. It was the lowest among all the American League starters. You do that, you're going to win some games. Tonight, Toronto's been able to get their people on in all but one inning as far as leadoff batters are concerned. 2 down, bases empty, 4-1. Jays on top. Carter 0 for 2, hit into a double play his last time up. Jimmy Key has had a pretty good number on Joe Carter over the seasons.
Well, Jimmy Key is a control pitcher we've talked about all night long, and he can exploit Carter's weaknesses. He can keep the ball inside just enough. Looping curveball. Wade Boggs was close to the line. Over to Mattingly. Carter's 0 for 3 tonight, and now 13 for 56 against Key. Followed by Tarnable and O'Neill, as Guzman has walked 3 and struck out 7, giving up only the 1 run on 4 hits. Yankees' best chances came in the first 2 innings. Since then, he's retired the side in order the last 2 innings and set down the last 7 Yankees he's faced. Guzman with a 1-1 to Mattingly. Yes.
2-1 was in on the fists. Right center field, not deep. Carter started back. It's called off by White. Mattingly's retired 1 away in the 6th.
When Devon White gets a beat on it, you let him take over. Joe Carter was coming hard and calling for the ball, but Devon White called him off. And that's the difference. We talk about Jimmy Key being defensive when he's on the mound. Juan Guzman goes right at him and say, you know, hit it in the air. Let one of those guys take care of it.
I got guys who can track it down. Danny Tarnable drew the walk his last time out, taken out on a double play that ended the inning. 1-0 delivery to him. Guzman missing up high. Guzman against the Yankees this season does not have a record against them. Worked 12 innings prior to this, gave up 8 runs and 11 hits. The Yankees have done a pretty good job prior to this game in hitting him. Not here tonight so far. Slapped into center field for the base hit. Tarnable's on. White over. 5th hit picked up by the Yankees. Comes with 1 out in the 6th inning. Tarnable's first of the night. And we'll bring up Paul O'Neill. O'Neill struck out his first time up, hit into that double play in the 3rd with Tarnable on at first base. Same situation here in the 6th. Takes the strike. Keep the roof closed here for most of the rest of the season at Skydome. Beautiful day in Toronto today. I mean, it could not have been a nicer late summer, early fall day, but cools off at night. It's so comfortable with the roof closed. Did he nick him? No. Took off the last chocolate chip cookie he ate, though. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And he may have re-aggravated his elbow. Watch how he braces himself with his right hand. And that has to hurt. He banged into the wall, and he gets up and grimaces. But, pow, he's got to put that hand down to break his fall. That couldn't have done that elbow any good at all.
Boy, if it can go wrong for the Yankee players who are hurt tonight, it has. Tarnable off first. 1-1 the count on O'Neill. Inside out swing down the left field line. Almost. The over the head attempt by Ed Sprague.
You know, there was an awful lot of concern about Ed Sprague going back to spring training. He was just reconverting back to a third baseman after spending time behind the plate. But he's done a very good job and almost tracks down that pop foul way down the left field line.
Buck, he's 3rd in fielding among the American League third basemen.
Yeah, he's done a fine job. He had a real bad weekend out in Oakland on the first trip to the West Coast. But Cito Gaston overall has to be relatively pleased with what he's gotten from Ed Sprague.
Guzman with a 1-2 count on O'Neill. Tarnable with no lead at first. That's a base hit by Sprague into the corner. Ricky Anderson over to get it. Tarnable heading for 3rd. Down to second base goes O'Neill. and the extra base hit. And the Yankees mounting a threat here in the 6th inning. 2 in scoring position with 1 away.
You know, the Yankees have been able to hit all year long, and Paul O'Neill is a big reason for it. He hits a good pitch off Guzman. That might have been a changeup. Splits the outside part of the plate, buys Sprague down into the corner. Karam's off the wall. Tartabull moves into third base as Henderson tracks it down. But the Yankees lead the league in average and home runs, and they would be the first club since the '79 Red Sox to lead the American League in those 2 departments.
Put up some very strong power numbers. O'Neill's 34th double of the season ties him for 10th in the league. Now another big at-bat for Stanley. He has struck out twice. Mike Stanley with a chance for a couple of runs. It's a 4-1 game. 8 in a row had been retired by Guzman prior to the 1-out single by Tartabull in the 6th. He's at 3rd now. O'Neill at 2nd down the left field line. Rickey tagging up Tartabull. He'll score the 2nd Yankee run. A sacrifice fly for Mike Stanley, his 82nd RBI, and it's 4-2 Jays.
Well, Stanley does the job. He hit it on the button, hit it far enough into left field to pick up that 1 run.
Henderson got the throw in to hold O'Neill at second base. Now there are 2 down, and Bernie Williams, who has also struck out twice, has an RBI chance. Could make it a 1-run ball game with a base hit here. Infield will play back as Guzman checks O'Neill at second base. Strike 1. Williams with a 4-game hit streak entering tonight's game. Has not had any success against Guzman, who's been eating him up. And even though Bernie's got a 4-game hit streak, he's only had 4 hits in his last 26 at-bats. You might say that is a modest 4-game hit streak.
That's as few as you can get.
Yeah, that's about it, isn't it?
He'll take a base hit right now.
Williams, 330 right-handed, 242 left-handed this year. Guzman, the long look, the 0-1, headed off the fist. Solarud in foul territory, trying in the inning. But the Yankees come up with a run and a couple of hits, leave a base runner on at second base. They've now stranded 5. Numbers for Olerud tonight. Career batting average now at .298. Big jump with a .368 average that John Olerud has put up this season. He's hit .300 or better against every club except the Seattle Mariners. Leads the league in hitting. Running the doubles numbers up, and one of the most ironic things, talking about the playoffs against left-handers, who might have to sit? The league's leading hitter,
the batting champ.
And that may happen. Did he go? No, says Greg Kosk.
Well, you think about what you might do without the DH. Olerud against left-handed pitching, hitting .287.
Which isn't bad, except the guy you're talking about getting in the lineup is Paul Molitor. So when you get to the DH situation and you don't have it anymore in the National League Park, and the Jays are facing a left-hander if they get that far, do you leave Olerud in the game to play first, or do you put Molitor in? That was a combination of Olerud and Molitor there, which is probably what Cito Gaston would like to have to play.
He'd love to have that, wouldn't he?
And so the feeling is you probably take John Olerud out and Paul Molitor plays. or whoever that was I was talking about. Fouled off, 3 balls, 2 strikes.
It's really ironic the impact that Paul Molitor's had on this season for Olerud. Way back in spring training, they were having a chat in the locker room, and Molitor said, when are you going to win a batting title? And it really caught Olerud by surprise. But he went on to say, you've got the best swing in the league.
There it is. Great catch. Bernie Williams lined it up and robs Olerud of at least a base hit.
Hits another line drive to center. Looked like it started to sink on Bernie Williams, and he had to go to his knee. That's the defense they've been getting from Bernie most of the year. He's not a real speedster like Devon White, but he's getting better at getting a good read on the bat and getting good jumps on the ball.
A little help for Jimmy Key. First out in the 6th inning. 1 down, and Roberto Alomar. Pitch outside for a ball. For Alomar this season, 3rd in batting, 4th in hits and stolen bases with 49. He's tied for 7th in runs scored. 6 more hits for Roberto Alomar, and he will have a career high in hits. Gold Glove second baseman. That's why the Jays are on the verge of their 3rd consecutive division title. Leon James will get it back in. Alomar on with one of those hits he needs. Let's check in with Gary.
Gary, the big weekend series in the vet. Budweiser takes us there. Tommy Green with a no-hitter. An out in the 6th when David Justice gets the turf single past Duncan. He's also walked 6 batters, but he gets a double play from Pendleton to get out of it. Braves have 1 hit. Meanwhile, Nabholz throwing a no-hitter at Shea. We'll keep you posted as we take you back to Skydome.
Big-time pitching late as the heat is on. 4-2 here, the Jays leading the Yankees. On at first base, Roberto Alomar. Tony Fernandez 0 for 1 and a sacrifice. Off home plate, fair ball. Boggs got a bare-handed. Nope, going to let it go foul. He had no play. That had stayed fair. Montreal keeping their lead up in that ball game, trailing Philadelphia by 6.
Phillies not doing anything to encourage the Expos. Putting one on Braves and Tom Glavine tonight in Philadelphia. 3-0 in the 6th.
The real race right now is Atlanta, San Francisco. San Francisco 2.5 back. And you know the Los Angeles Dodgers are sitting there saying, oh, please, please, may that final series against San Francisco be meaningful. Because that's where the Giants will end up to end their season. Fernandez will step out. Key lobs it over to first as Alomar gets back to the bag. Second half of our doubleheader. You'll see the Padres take on the Giants. Plantier putting up some big power numbers. And Bonds, of course, with a spectacular season. And the Giants down by 2.5. They've won 2 in a row. That's coming up next right here on ESPN. Second half of our Friday night doubleheader. Tony Fernandez waiting here while Key has been lobbing the ball over to first because Alomar's walked off a lead where he's got 1 foot out there on the carpet. So he's built himself a pretty good lead, enough so that Key's concerned. Alomar, though, his first move right back to the bag.
Sometimes when Alomar gets off that far, it's a one-way lead. He's thinking more about going back to first than he is going to second.
Kenny Lofton leads the league in stolen bases, 64. Henderson is second. Alomar is 4th with 49. 0-1 pitch, down low. 1 ball and 1 strike on Tony Fernandez.
That was a good example of why Jimmy Key's so tough to steal against. That time he didn't even raise that front foot, just came with a real short slide step. He'll give you a different look every time. Alomar was going back to first on that one.
Jimmy Key in the game, 3rd in ERA, starting the day behind Kevin Apier and Chuck Finley. 2.98. Jays have already picked up 4 runs off him. 4-2 lead. 2-1 delivery. Fernandez late on the fastball. 2 balls, 2 strikes. I never did get the opinion out of you. We were talking about pitchers in the Cy Young Award, Buck, earlier. What do you think?
Jack McDowell's going to get an awful lot of votes because of his win total and the fact that the White Sox are probably going to win the West. Randy Johnson got a shot at 300 strikeouts, got an outside shot at 20 wins. He's going to get an awful lot of consideration. I think he deserves a lot of consideration. He's really had a fine year.
2-2 pitch right into the hole. Mattingly holding the bag. Nobody there. Fernandez picks up the single, and the Jays have runners at first and second with 1 out. Their 8th hit of the game. As we said, Key is going to get some votes. Man who probably won't get as many as he deserves is going to be Kevin Apier at Kansas City because he just doesn't get the publicity. But he right now leads the league in ERA. 2.62 for Apier, who's won 17 games. We will conference at the mound here.
Tony Cloninger, the pitching coach, out to talk with Jimmy Key. See what's going on with him. How much he's got left. He should have plenty left. They've got Bob Wickman in the bullpen, who also served as a starter for Buck Showalter, but proved to be more valuable when that bullpen was pretty porous down there. So we'll put him in the pen for a while.
Buck Showalter's team knows the magic number of Toronto is 5, and with this 3-game series here, they don't have any room.
Come on, Ed, let's go.
Toronto able to win this ball game. They lop a couple off that magic number because they're beating the team that's right behind them, the Yankees. 1 down. Alomar at second, Fernandez at first. Ed Sprague takes the pitch for a strike.
Let's watch and see what they do with Sprague this time up. The last time he struck out on a curveball, it was away from him. Key really pounded him in and out, using the fastball inside and then going backdoor with the curveball. Here they come in. Whoop. Robbie's going to get back. Jimmy Key caught him out of the corner of his eye. Robbie's very proficient at stealing third.
0-1 delivery. Turned it over, missed outside with it. 1 ball, 1 strike on Sprague. Key, a ground ball pitcher, has been throughout his career, so he's able to turn some double plays. Picked one up this ball game against Joe Carter in a big situation. Got another one in the 5th inning for Paul Molitor. Would like to get his 3rd right here. 2 balls and 1 strike on Sprague. What you were talking about, Buck?
If he can carry his momentum right off the bag without having Key stop him, he'll generally break toward third.
2-1 by Jimmy Key. Falls behind on Sprague. 3 balls and 1 strike. Pat Borders has already had 1 big hit in this ball game, waiting in the on-deck circle. Sprague still looking for his first hit against Jimmy Key. There's Borders watching the 3-1 delivery. And the bases are loaded. 4 walks by Key in this game. He loads them up with only 1 away.
Play for 2 right there. That's the sign that Showalter pass along to his defense. Up the middle, he wants him to play for 2. Mattingly at first base, looking in for his instructions. George Steinbrenner not passing along any signs yet.
That you know of. Pat Borders 1 for 8 with the bases loaded this year. Faces Jimmy Key. 4-2 Jays lead. Borders already has delivered in the 4th inning. 2 RBIs, 2 down. With a count at 2-2, he delivered a 2 RBI single. He's got 12 RBIs in his last 15 games. Borders to second base. Gallego. 1. Velarde the turn. And they get the double play. A good stretch by Mattingly. A great pivot by Gallego to get that started as he had to range towards first base. So Jimmy Key able to work his way out of it with some fine defensive help. Gallego will lead it off after starting a tremendous double play to end that inning. He drew a walk and scored in the second inning, the only Yankee run off Juan Guzman. A single by Boggs in the second scored him, and he gets both of them that time. Garcia took that one right on the foot, right off Borders, and threw him.
Well, if the Yankees get back in this game, they'll look to this inning-ending double play started by Mike Gallego. He's aware that Borders is running, and look at the strike he gives to Randy Velarde, who had Ed Sprague all over him. But a strong relay to first to Mattingly to complete the 4-6-3 double play. Third double play of the night by the Yankees, and that has kept them in this ballgame.
What a two great pivots right there. One by the second baseman, Gallego, to get it to Velarde, and then Velarde with just a classic up and over the runner throw. Somebody caught that photographer. They'll have a heck of a shot for the news tomorrow. 1-1 by Guzman. Missed the outside corner, and Gallego, who thought that might have been in there. He looked back at home plate umpire Rich Garcia. Garcia looks over into the Toronto dugout. You may have heard somebody hollering, "Hey, come on." 2-1. Guzman, 3 walks and 7 strikeouts. Falls behind Gallego, 3-1. Gallego had to hit the 3-1 fastball. Tony Fernandez at short. He's got it. Gallego's retired. One away in the 7th. Gary Miller.
Budweiser takes us to Shea, the no-hitter in progress. Chris Nabholz's first appearance since early August. Eddie Murray with the chopper. Barry can't come up with it. What are they going to call it? Well, the scoreboard says no for the hit total, but they did, yes, give him a hit. Scott came in relief. He's given up a double. The Mets are now threatening in the bottom of the 7th. 5-0 Montreal.
I don't want to be the official scorer in that situation. You cannot win. Randy Velarde had a single in the second inning, 1 for 2 in the ball game. Runner inside to him. Gallego taken out, first out of the inning. Yankees with 5 left on, 3 in scoring position in this game. Guzman settling down after he overthrew to 3 batters in the first. Velarde had a quick read of his life.
Well, he's come out of his delivery a bit here in this 7th inning so far. Fell behind Gallego 3-1. Now he's behind Randy Velarde. Watch how he's jumping a little bit at the plate. Ball gets away from him. Maybe trying to throw it 98 miles an hour. Galen Cisco, the pitching coach, is going to come out and have a talk with him.
Chat and see how he feels about it here. While they're doing that, we want to remind you, college football back right here on ESPN. We hope you'll be taking a look as you'll see College Game Day coming your way tomorrow, 11:30 Eastern, 8:30 Pacific time. Then you'll see Wisconsin taking on Indiana. Number 23 Wisconsin. That starts at 12:30 Eastern and 9:30 Pacific. And Rutgers takes on number 8 Penn State, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. That's college football right here on ESPN tomorrow. 4-2 lead for the Jays. Guzman stays on, to the delight of the crowd, of course. Randy Velarde takes the strike. 2 balls, 1 strike. This is up high with that one. Guzman now up over 100 pitches, passes it in this inning. The 21st straight outing of 100+ pitches.
Every time he takes the hill, you expect him to pitch you late into the ball game. He has been on some hot streak.
Just 2 more.
He only worked 100, and not only, he worked 180 innings last year. He's now up to 214 this season. Gets the strike, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
He's the only Blue Jay starter that has taken his every regular turn. He's taken it in the rotation. He hasn't had any problems at all. He had a slow spring. He had a virus in the spring that really held him back, kept him out of his drills, but he never missed a regular season start.
Balls are finding their way down that line. Olerud will take it. Alomar had moved over. A couple of pop-outs here in the 7th. Randy Velarde is retired. And there are 2 down. Working for the New York Yankees, Reggie Jackson on hand here tonight. There were some baseball meetings that have been going on here. The Yankee ownership and George Steinbrenner on hand for that. I don't exactly know what the meetings were that he was talking about before the game tonight. Said I've come up here to meet with the Toronto owners.
Paul Beeston, the general manager. Peter Witherington is now serving as acting commissioner, so they have some committee meetings.
Yeah. Guzman 2 down and nobody on. Working to Wade Boggs, who singled in the only run in the 2nd inning. 1 for 3 in the ball game. 4-2 lead. Jays on top. Started this 3-game series over the weekend against the Yankees before the Toronto Blue Jays will head out on the road to wrap the season up. We would dearly love to take the division title with them before they go. 1-1 pitch. Boggs fouls it back. Jays go to Milwaukee for 3, Baltimore for 4 to wrap up their season. New York Yankees, they've got to go to Baltimore for 3, and they finish up at home against the Detroit Tigers next week.
Oh, Gary, they won 4 division titles, and each of the 4 have been done at home. So,
pretty amazing.
Yeah, they'd like to continue that trend.
Second base. He was playing deep. Alomar. He gets Boggs. And Guzman retires the side in order. A 4-2 lead for the Jays. Stretch time as Ricky heads in.
4th home run as a Blue Jay, 2nd here. Take a look at this. John Olerud, the left-hander, hits a line drive. This is the leading hitter in the American League. He's going to wrap up the batting title. Take a look at this fluid swing. That's the way he's been swinging most of the year. It's a line drive to center. And then Henderson, watch this swing. Ricky Henderson really hasn't been swinging the bat well until this week. But take a look at this home run he hit off Jimmy Key. No doubt about that. He got the fastball about letter high, and he ripped it to left field. That's the 9th home run Ricky Henderson has hit off Jimmy Key.
Double and a home run. 5-game hit streak extended for those hits he's picked up, and his combined average now at 290 on the season. Bottom of the 7th inning, 4-2 lead. And Bob Wickman has come on as Jimmy Key is out of the game for the Yankees. The right-hander's pitch is a strike. 24-year-old Bob Wickman, who has worked both as a starter and a reliever. And you see he's posted pretty decent numbers. Henderson takes it inside. 1-1.
Wickman has a wicked sinking fastball. He doesn't get an awful lot of ground balls. And he has really been versatile. See what he's done as a starter. 8.4 ERA, a little bit higher as a starter. As a reliever, he's been outstanding. 3.18 ERA, perfect 5-0 mark. Let me tell you something. When you catch a guy like Bob Wickman, it's like catching a shot put. That ball just tears up your thumb. Very difficult to get it airborne as a hitter.
Last pitched on Wednesday against the Red Sox. Bounces that one to the backstop. And the count goes to 3 balls and 1 strike on Ricky Henderson. Wickman out of Wisconsin, resides in Abrams, Wisconsin, attended University of Wisconsin at Whitewater. He's been in the Yankee organization for the past 3 seasons. Got his first shot at the big leagues last year in 8 games. And Henderson is on. So Wickman starts it out by walking Ricky Henderson. The bottom of the 7th inning. Not what Mike Stanley had in mind, nor Wickman. Ricky this season continues to pile up the walks. 116 free passes.
Well, we talked to Frank Tanana before the game, and the bad news for the Yankees is Ricky Henderson has 10 career home runs off of Frank Tanana. And Tanana said the reason is that pitchers are so wary of walking Ricky Henderson, they have a tendency to groove too many pitches to it.
White fouls it off. And Ricky immediately deposits those in souvenirs and outfield seats. Devon White, a couple of singles in 3 times up. He had an 0 for 8 coming into the game. He's gotten rid of that. Batting over 300 against the Yankees this year. Henderson at first, Mattingly holding him. Wickman. This is outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ricky's second in the league in walks. Tony Phillips has drawn 125 starting the day. Henderson up to 116 free passes. And as we said, Ricky's second in stolen bases. Lofton with 64. Henderson with 52. Just trying to get a look at Wickman as he gets the throw over. 1-1 the count on White.
Well, the Yankees have been able to convert 3 double plays tonight, but if they do it with this combination, they'll really be doing something. Devon White's only been doubled up 3 times all year.
The all-time leading base stealer on at first. And Devon White with speed, batting left-handed. Discussing the season, Henderson and Mattingly. Bob Wickman. 2-1 pitch towards the gap, left center field. Dion James played it back. It'll be off the wall. Henderson making the turn at third. He'll score. Holding up with the RBI double at second base, Devon White. 5-2 Jays. George Steinbrenner said before the game when asked about Ricky Henderson, he never gave me less than 100%. He's wishing he was wearing the other uniform right now.
Well, Devon White picks up his 3rd hit of the night. 2 singles in this double. Sails over the head of Dion James. He really had no chance at all on it. That ball really took off. Goes all the way to the wall. But Ricky Henderson with good speed comes all the way around to score. Henderson now has scored 3 times, and George Steinbrenner has seen just about enough for Ricky Henderson as a Blue Jay.
Henderson has now scored 3 runs in this game. 110 runs scored in the season. Down the right field line. That is a fair ball. Devon White making the turn. Ball was touched. Ground rule double. RBI for Molitor. His second of the game. 6-2 Jays.
Well, the bullpen, particularly in the middle, has been somewhat of a weak point for the Yankees. And Bob Wickman coming in here in the 7th inning, have walked a batter and now given up consecutive base hits. Paul Molitor, a notorious first ball fastball hitter, gets one on the inside part of the plate and strokes it into the corner and right.
He just continues a magnificent season. First base open. Joe Carter will be given the intentional pass as Wickman has come on here in the 7th. Walked Henderson, who scored. A double by White. Molitor a double and an RBI.
You don't see too many managers walk the hitter ahead of John Oldred. But with this situation, Buck Showalter wants to put the double play in order. So he'll issue the intentional pass. And then he's going to go make a pitching change.
Nobody out here in the 7th inning. Paul Ossenmacher is ready to work. Jimmy Key went 6 innings, gave up 4 runs on 8 hits. He walked 4 and struck out 3. Bob Wickman on in the 7th inning has not gotten anybody out. Already responsible for 2 runs and still responsible for the 2 base runners.
On a strikeout title in the American League, Kellogg's will present the K-Factor Award to the league leader in each league. We don't know who it'll be in the National League. Both Rio and Smoltz going on Saturday. Right now, we take you back to Skydome, the pitching change, and Gary and Buck with more on the Yankees and Jays.
Gary, thank you. There's Paul Ossenmacher, the 3rd Yankee pitcher, the veteran acquired from the Chicago Cubs in a deal at the end of July.
Well, Ossenmacher's done a good job working against left-handers, and that's what he's asked to do here with John Oldred at the plate. He's worked in 23 games, 2-2, hasn't had a save, but he's been especially pitcher. 239 against left-handed batters, opposed to 278 to the righties. Got a big sweeping breaking ball that makes it very difficult on left-handed hitters. John Olerud against lefties, batting 287, 100 points difference. 400 hitter against right-handers.
He's faced Assenmacher a couple of times without a hit off him. Base on the first pitch. Paul Molitor comes around. The throw by Bernie Williams cut off. 7-2. So much for the book.
This game pretty much reflects just the way the Blue Jays have played all year long. In September, just 10 days ago, they were tied with the Yankees, and it was as if they said, okay, fellas, now we're going to take charge. Olerud hits the first pitch from Assenmacher right over the mound into center field. And the Blue Jays, with all that speed, Paul Molitor at second base comes in to score easily, and the Blue Jays have a 5-run lead.
And for John Olerud, 104 runs batted in on the season. Just one more of the positive numbers. Roberto Alomar been on twice, single and a walk. He's got runners at first and second. There's still nobody out here in the 7th inning. Carter on at second base. Down to short. Velarde. Gallego. Not going to turn that one. John Olerud, good slide into second base to make sure Gallego couldn't make the pivot. And Carter did not make too wide a turn at third, so there was no play there either. One down.
Well, Velarde does his best to start this double play. He knows it's going to be a long shot, but throws a strike to Gallego. John Olerud bears down on Gallego at second base. In the hole, and just too far to go for Velarde to turn that double play with Alomar running.
So Tony Fernandez will get the chance. And the folks here at Skydome, 50,000 plus. There's the essence of the 3rd straight division championship floating inside Skydome. Assenmacher missing inside on that one. 7-2 lead. 11 hits picked up by the Blue Jays. Tony Fernandez with runners at first and third, and one down. Again, Assenmacher trying to stay inside. Got too far inside that time. 2 balls, no strikes. All 3 of the runs that have scored in this inning, responsibility of Wickman. Fernandez 266 off left-handers. Takes the strike, 2-1. Well, so far in this game, if you take a look at Wickman, who watches, Toronto's not had any trouble against left-handers.
They've been better lately. Robbie Alomar, for one, says they just didn't see enough left-handers early on. They were really infrequent, but lately they've been seeing their share of them, and the bats are starting to hit a little better. A lot of the problems against left-handers are the fact that the Blue Jays like the ball out over the plate.
Runner goes, no throw. Roberto Alomar gets into scoring position at second base. I would think they will give him the stolen base, as Buck says, bring the infield in. They will give the intentional pass here to Tony Fernandez with first base open to load him up for Ed Sprague. Here comes Buck Showalter. Only one down, bases loaded, and with Sprague coming up, he wants the right-hander. No, Assenmacher will leave, getting 1 out and 3 batters.
Budweiser takes us to Camden Yards. The Orioles on that season-ending 10-game homestand started the way they started each of their road series when they went 3-6 with a loss. John Doherty, a complete game shutout. Jamie Moyer, 5-3 over his last 8 starts. The O's have scored a total of 1 run in those losses. Back to Skydome.
Well, Detroit putting the big hurt on. With Toronto leading here 7-2, the Eastern Division race is quickly vaporizing. Those are the current standings now. And if Toronto goes on to win this game, yet another half game, New York would be out by 6. Baltimore would be up by 7, and the magic number would be 3.
And they'd both be 7 games back in a loss column.
The bases are loaded for Ed Sprague, who faces Bobby Munoz.
Munoz, another one of the young players that has been promoted here in New York this year. This is his 34th game. He hasn't given up a home run. He's got a good, heavy sinking fastball.
Really blow the doors off this one right here with a 7-2 lead. 1 down, 1-1 the count on Sprague. Sprague this season, the base is loaded, and a lot of opportunities. Center field. Sprague was 6 for 15 with the bases loaded. The tag will be made. Carter will not be able to score as Bernie Williams makes a nice throw from shallow center field. The Sprague does not get it done here, and there are 2 down.
Bernie Williams took that fly ball in shallow center. He's getting himself in position to throw. Carter comes down the line a couple of hard steps, but throws on the brakes as Williams delivers a strike to Stanley. Carter's just faking all the way right there. He had no intention of going. The ball was just too shallow in center.
And for the second time in the game, Pat Borders comes up with the bases loaded. He hit into a double play in the 6th inning. 2 down. One for 9 with the bases loaded this season. 7-2 lead for the Jays. 3 runs in the bottom of the 7th. Fastball by Bobby Munoz, 1-1.
Thing about the Blue Jays is their balanced attack, and the bottom 3 guys in this lineup, Fernandez, Sprague, and Borders, have really come on in September. They've really gotten some key hits, as they have here again tonight, particularly Borders with that 2-run single in the 3rd.
Fastball again at the knees. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Borders. Bobby Munoz trying to work his way out of this jam, not of his own creation. 1-2 the count. He'll step off. Borders stepped out of the batter's box. RBIs, White, Molitor, Olerud in this inning. Great off-speed breaking ball. Struck him out. So Munoz comes on, gets his part of it done, but the Jays batted around and added 3 to make it 7-2. Jays trying to send the Yankees to their 4th consecutive loss, leading at 7-2 in the 8th inning, and the starter Juan Guzman, with a chance to win his 14th, is out of the game, and we'll see Tony Castillo.
Left-hander Tony Castillo has really very quietly had an outstanding season for Toronto. 48th game of the year, 3-2. Hasn't saved a game, but he hasn't been given many opportunities. 3.47 ERA. Castillo is a guy that doesn't really impress you. You see him an inning here, an inning there, and he doesn't have anything that has impressed you. But the fact is, he throws the ball over the plate, and it's pretty tough against lefties.
Turner Ward has come on to play right field for the Jays. Carter gets a break.
Castillo's been particularly effective against New York. This is his 6th game against them this season. He has yet to give up an earned run. 3 hits in 3 2/3 innings.
Yankees seeing the season dwindle away. Mike Humphreys has come on as the pinch hitter. Delivery. Strike called on the outside corner. Humphreys hitting for Dion James. Yankees down 7-2. Guzman did his job. 7 innings, 2 runs on 6 hits, walked 3 and struck out 7. And has a chance to go 14-3 on the year, unless the Yankees pull a major miracle. Pitch is taken up high. 3 balls and 1 strike. Crowd moaning and groaning a bit that he'd fall behind here in the leadoff batter Humphries in pinch hitting. Fastball strike. Castillo's ready to rock and roll here, not taking any time. Foul back, count stays. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Humphries.
Gary, before the Blue Jays got hot in this recent homestand and really put together a strong run here, they had a lot of problems in the 8th inning. They weren't getting real good setup pitching out of their bullpen. But then Mike Timlin, who came back from the minor leagues, he was sent down to A-ball to Dunedin to get himself straightened out, and he's been outstanding. He gave up a home run Wednesday night to Rob Deere that lost the game, but that's the only blemish on his mark since he's been back.
And Humphries is out of there. Ron White handling it in center field. Humphries, who just came to the Yankees today. It's the fly ball out here in the 8th inning. Mike Humphries heads back. Got a chance here. He called from AAA. 1 down in the 8th. Don Mattingly had a single in the 1st inning. Yankees had their chance to jump on Juan Guzman in the 1st inning, and they got a couple on, 1st and 3rd and 1 out. Guzman then struck out Tartabull and O'Neill, and it's been downhill since then for New York. Mattingly to center. Devon White. He's got it. Mattingly the 2nd out in the 8th off Castillo. We'll check in with Gary.
Budweiser takes us to the vet. Dave Justice up with 2 aboard in the 8th. Braves being shut out by their old teammate Tommy Green, who's got a 1-hitter going, and he keeps it intact. Braves are going to be down to their final at bat. This battle of divisional leaders. The Phils are up 3-0 in the 8th. Back to you.
San Francisco's putting a little more oil on the glove.
Yeah, they're about 15 minutes away from getting started.
Deep down the right field line, opposite way, foul ball off the bat of Danny Tartabull.
Well, they've gotten 2 strong pitching performances last couple of days. Bill Swift and John Burkett. Burkett won his 20th. Now Barry Bonds is starting to come back. They'll make it interesting, won't they?
They are. 0-1 delivery. Castillo bearing in. No balls, 2 strikes on Tartabull. Jimmy Key, the pitcher of record for the Yankees, is going after his 18th win tonight. Looks like he's not going to get it. Wickman, Assenmacher, Munoz have been on after him. The 3 runs in the 7th, all charged to Bob Wickman in no part of an inning. Coming up next, you'll see the San Diego Padres and the San Francisco Giants, and they have a chance to take another game off that lead. White's not going to get that one. Reaching up, bounces off his glove. Tartabull on his way to second base. Will make the turn. He'll head over to 3rd. Devon White reached up trying to cut it off, and in doing so only got a part of it and pushed it. And pushed it out of the reach of Turner Ward, who was running towards him. And Tartabull ends up on 3rd.
Danny Tartabull has his 2nd hit of the night. It's a fastball up out over the plate that he jumps all over and drives it up the gap. Devon White thought he could cut this ball off, but you can see he just slings it away from himself. Turner Ward overran the play. Once he knocked it by Ward, he has to go get it himself. I'm sure it'll be a double and maybe an error, and maybe not an error, because that's a difficult play out there.
Called it a 3-base hit. 3-base hit. Jim Lawrence is now pinch hitting for O'Neill with the left-hander Castillo out there. Buck Showalter putting the switch hitters in. Tartabull on at 3rd base, and he'll score. Jim Lawrence delivers the pinch hit single. Tartabull crosses, and the Yankees have their 3rd run to make it a 7-3 game. Jim Lawrence picking up his 45th RBI, and he's has 5 of those as a pinch hitter, 4 for 13 as a pinch hitter. Tito Gastineau's got room to work in this game. 8th inning, 7-3 lead.
There's Mike Timlin. Looks like he's all set to go.
Stanley will be up, 2 down. Castillo gets the strike. Yankees mounting the rally with 2 away in the 8th. 2-strike count on Mike Stanley.
You know, the Yankees had an opportunity to turn this game around early. We mentioned the first inning when they couldn't jump on Guzman, but in the second inning, they had a threat mounting, and Robbie Alomar made a play on a base hit by Deion James, went to third base and caught Velarde rounded third too far.
Another base hit to right field. Jim Lawrence rounds second base. Turner Ward will get it in, and the Yankees have runners at the corners with 2 down, and suddenly gets a little close. And Cito Gaston says, I've seen enough for the left-hander. So after 2 were down, Tarnable picked up the triple. Jim Lawrence delivered the RBI single. Timlin will be working with runners on at first and third. Lawrence at third. Stanley at first. And Bernie Williams will be the hitter. Williams 0 for 3. Castillo ended up working 2/3 of an inning, charged with 3 hits. Timlin gets the strike on Williams.
Mike Timlin went down to Dunedin in the Florida State League for 12 days and worked on basically getting his confidence back. He was up in the strike zone most of the season, and since he's come back, boy, he's been awfully tough. He still has that good velocity and good sinking fastball, but he lost confidence in it there for a while.
Times I saw him pitch last year, Buck, he looked like the second coming of a middle reliever. I mean, he was, in some games, absolutely unhittable.
Well, that was the projection. They felt he was going to be Dwayne Ward here in 1993. And Ward would assume Tom Henke's role as the closer, and they'd have a perfect 1-2 combination, much like Ward and Henke had been for the last several years here.
1-2 on Williams. Sometimes things just don't work out the way you plan them.
No, and I think Mike Timlin's back on the right track now. You know, you talk to hitters around the American League, and they say, well, whatever happened to Timlin? He's got nasty stuff. What kind of year is he having over there? Something's wrong. And he just went down and got his confidence back, and he's come back and been exactly what they thought he would be.
1 ball, 2-strike count on Bernie Williams. 2 down. First and third for the Yankees, and a timeout taken. Timlin suffered the loss on Wednesday, surrendering a 2-run homer to Rob Deere that ended the 9-game win streak of the Jays. But a 1.29 ERA in 7 games since his recall. Shallow left. Fernandez the shortstop. Bernie Williams retired, a run in on 3 hits, a couple left on. 7-3 Jays. Just dying. 7-3 lead for the Toronto Blue Jays. A couple of teammates there who enjoying a championship season again.
When Rickey Henderson first came over to Toronto, there were a lot of concerns, and it was written in several newspaper articles about the chemistry of this ball club, whether or not Rickey Henderson would disturb the chemistry. And we talked to a lot of the players, and Devon White in particular stood up for Rickey, saying, hey, don't worry about Rickey. He's a good player, and we're a good bunch of guys here, and he'll fit in. Dave Stewart, Henderson's longtime buddy from Oakland, he also said, you just give Rickey a chance, and he'll grow on you.
When he hits home runs, scores runs, picks up RBIs, he grows on in a real hurry.
He's a great guy.
Strike taken. Well, I asked Tony La Russa this season after Rickey Henderson was gone. There's Humphreys, who stays in left field for James. Would you want Rickey back? He said, absolutely. He says, we're not out of the picture. 0-1 pitch, and inside. Bobby Munoz working for the Yankees. Munoz came on, strikeout and a walk. Outside corner strike called on that one. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, before the game, George Steinbrenner grabbed Ricky Henderson by the arm and said, right over here on this side of the field, Ricky, come over on our side. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not Steinbrenner gets involved in the Ricky Henderson derby. Be interesting to see just how much interest there is in Ricky Henderson and at what level.
That's right. At the time of the deal was made, most baseball people were saying that Henderson was going to want a deal that was going to be too long, too large, and that it was more likely that people would want to give him a 1 year with maybe an option and lots of incentives. 2-2 pitch. Munoz misses up high. 3-2 on Henderson. Ricky, 3-run score and a walk, the home run, a double. The only time they got him in the 4th inning when he flied to left field. A major part of this ball game. 5-game hit streak for him now. Towards third. Short hopped. Wade Boggs over to Mattingly. 1 down in the 8th. I was looking at Don Mattingly as he came out that last inning. There's a lot of pain over there at first base. I mean, Mattingly knows. Chance to get into the playoffs finally are evaporating before his eyes in this dome tonight.
It's been such an upbeat season for him because he's had so many tough years over there with New York as far as the team winning any championships. 85, the Blue Jays beat them on the last weekend of the season at the old Exhibition Stadium.
Devon White fouls it back. Not to have played postseason and to have been the kind of star that Don Mattingly has been is kind of incomprehensible, but the possibility exists that that could happen with this great Yankee captain. 1-1 delivery off speed by Munoz, misses up high. 2 balls, 1 strike.
You know, they've been close so often. Between 83 and 88, they've averaged 90 wins a season, but they haven't been able to get on top of the division. And that's one thing.
Mattingly over 10 years of major league service, all of course for the New York Yankees. Only U.B. Brooks has played in the major leagues longer and not been to postseason. And he wants it so bad. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Munoz got the slapper to third. Boggs knocks it down and won't get him.
There are few players in either league that run as well as Devon White down the first baseline. Boggs had to go to the backhand and knew it was going to be a tough play. Take a look at Boggs' reactions here. He goes to his right, takes the short hop. It catches him on the heel of the glove, but bounces up right to him. No chance at all at first base.
That's a 4-hit game for Devon White. He's got 3 singles and a double, an RBI, and a run scored. Kind of quietly done here in this game. And he came in having an 0 for 8. So White's on again with 1 down in the 8th inning. That's 12 hits for the Jays.
Here, that's why the Blue Jays are so tough. You know, you concentrate on Henderson and you forget about White, and then you worry about Molitor and you forget about Carter, and Olerud's right there. Fernandez. They're just a really tough lineup to work through. Not too many breaks or soft spots in the lineup 1 through 9.
Molitor's had another big night. First ball hitting again. Base hit to center field for Paul Molitor. He now has 2 RBIs, a double, a single, and a run scored in this game. Molitor, Buck mentioned before, first ball.
First ball, fastball hitter. Look how quick his hands are. He doesn't even take a stride. That enables him to wait till the last possible moment before he offers it the pitch. You know, you talk to defensive players around the league and they say Paul Molitor is the most difficult to defend against because he can do so many things with the same pitch.
Molitor is the oldest major leaguer ever to have a 100-plus RBI season. 37 years old. He's on at first. Bobby Munoz is taken inside. First time. At the age of 37. Turner Ward. Ward getting an at-bat 187 on the season. Hasn't had many pitches taken as a strike. A 7-3 game, and the Jays threatening to add to it here in the 8th inning. Well, the Yankees have not had a lot of fire in this game. Popped up. Stanley over to get it. Ward's retired, 2 down.
You know, Gary, I think that had to do with the fact that so many of them were banged up when the game started. Buck Showalter quickly out of the dugout, and he's going to go to the left-hander again down there in the bullpen. He's got Steve Howe.
Well, he's not going to let it go easy. He's making all the moves. Munoz out. The final, Philadelphia shutting out Atlanta. So the Giants 2 games out right now. If they can win, could be a game and a half out, and you'll see San Diego, San Francisco coming up as soon as we've completed the game here at Skydome. Bill Plantier and the Padres taking on the San Francisco Giants. Will be pumped.
Well, Paul Gibson comes out of the bullpen, and not Steve Howe. Buck Showalter wants the left-hander to match up against John Olerud. Last time he did this, Paul Ossenmacher threw 1 pitch to Olerud, and he singled to center. Gibson, since signing with the Yankees, this is his 19th game, 31 hits in 34 innings. He, like Ossenmacher, has that big sweeping breaking ball. That's the pitch that Olerud hit. Buck Showalter continues to work on the phone. Seeing who he's got available. Frank Howard moving the outfielders around to defend against John Olerud, who presents an unusual problem in that he uses the whole field and really spreads out the defense.
He has contributed with that RBI that came in the 7th inning. Couple of hits in 3 at-bats. And takes the pitch from Paul Gibson down low. 13 hits for the Blue Jays. White on at second base. Molitor on at first. Olerud. That one up out of the strike zone. 1 ball, 1 strike. White with that flying speed at second base. Molitor at first. Gibson with a 1-1 off the fists outside of third base. Well, if that had been in the bag, Wade Boggs has moved around playing him to pull the ball. He's not going to have a chance at that, but it was fouled.
Well, that's a change in John Olerud's approach at the plate, too. They were going back to last year. Cito Gaston had to talk to him about pulling the ball more often, looking for pitches on the inside part of the plate. Early in his career, he was such a good hitter to left field that defenses started to play him around toward left. And one day back in Kansas City last summer, he lined the ball down the line in the left field corner, and Kevin McReynolds was camped right there and made the play. Cito Gaston said, well, John, now you've got to make them adjust to it. You got to start pulling the ball. And look at the improvement all the way up to 368.
And he does. Diving stop. Gallego makes the play. Mike Gallego saving a run right there, and he's done an outstanding job. Second base, couple of hits. 2 are left on. Gallego doing his part, but the Yankees final shot coming up. And the New York Yankees, the final chance, as they are down 7-3. They'll have to do it against number 1 out of the pen.
Dwayne Ward with 41 saves for the Blue Jays this year. This will be his 66th game. This is not a save situation, of course. Look at the strikeouts. 92 strikeouts in 65 2/3 innings. Remember all the doubts early on about whether or not Dwayne Ward would be able to handle the closer role, make the adjustment from being a 100-inning setup guy? Forget about all that.
Willie Cañate comes on to play left field for the Jays here in the 9th. Ricky Henderson out. Mike Gallego steps in. It'll be Gallego, Velarde, and the top of the order, Wade Boggs, due up. Gallego only 1 for 9 against Ward, who has struck him out 5 times. And the pitch is taken up high, ball 1. Toronto with a chance to cut their magic number down to 3. Ward, all he needs to do is get the 3 outs here to do that. And the Yankees will suffer their 4th loss in a row. Cito Gaston can be at least a little relaxed. 1-1.
Gary, he's been relaxed all year long. He gets criticized an awful lot for the do-nothing manager, but what he does is he instills a lot of confidence in his players. He's very patient with them, and it's paid off here in September.
Chopped off the plate to short. Fernandez.
Tony Fernandez has played like he did in the mid-'80s for the Blue Jays since coming back to Toronto this summer. It's a fine play. Gallego runs pretty well, but look at the short hop glove by Fernandez and then fires on the run to Olerud. He's really been a spark defensively, and he's done a good job with the bat.
Sure has. Absolutely nothing like the numbers he had with the Mets. Ward gets the first out here in the 9th inning. Randy Velarde had a single in the 2nd. 7-3 lead for the Jays as they go after number 89. Jays last season won 96 as they won it by 4 to move on to a world championship. Ultimately fouled off at the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And getting very close to yet another division title. They've now had 11 years where they have played over 500 baseball. 11 consecutive years. Part of that because they've had 9 years in a row where they've had a winning record on the road. It's a pretty amazing accomplishment. 1-2 chopped again off the plate, this time to 3rd. Sprague, Olerud, nice knockdown. That'll put the base runner on. Velarde's on with 1 away. Gary.
The Jays inching closer. Budweiser takes us to Comiskey to check the West. 4-0 lead for the White Sox, and the Rangers finally get on the board off Tim Belcher. Palmeiro, his 38th double of the year, knocks in 2. It's 4-2. But Roberto Hernandez has come on in the 9th with his 99-octane gas, going for his 37th save. A win would reduce their magic number to 3. Back to Skydome.
Texas going into that series, having lost a couple games in a row. Wade Boggs, leadoff batter for the Yankees, a single and an RBI in the 2nd inning. Stanley picked up a sacrifice fly in the 6th. RBI single by Jim Leyritz in the 8th, accounting for the 3 Yankee runs. Juan Guzman waiting to see if he's going to get his 14th win of the season. If he does, he'll be 14-3, the pitcher of record. And those are the current standings, with Toronto attempting to add another half game to New York and Baltimore's trailing. 0-2. Did he go? No. One ball, 2 strike count on Boggs. Velarde credited with a single on at first base. 10th hit for the Yankees. One-two breaking ball. Nice play by Borders. The backhand glove stop. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Cito Gaston has a philosophy with this particular ball club that he's got 9 everyday players. They go out there and play every inning of every game, and every once in a while he'll ask them, "Are you tired?" And all of them say no.
So they play again. Wade Boggs towards second base. Alomar Fernandez not in time. Boggs hits in.